Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 126 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast, Adjunct series. We are still out here in sunny Miami, Florida. It is glorious. Tiff and I just got back from Key West over the weekend. Always wanted to go down there. Beautiful drive. It's just a glorious part of the world. And this evening, I'm finally hanging out with a OG BAOS guest. We have, you guys, if you've been around, you know this gentleman. He's been on one of the most on actually the whole podcast, actually, because he even co-hosted a bunch with me, which we'll get into. And he's actually going to do me a favor, and he's going to help me out with the ad read tonight, which is going to be way more fun than just me doing it. So first and foremost, please welcome the most attractive man in Los Angeles. It is Teo Hunter of Crowns and Hops Brewing in the building.
Woo!
You like that, huh?
The most attractive man in Los Angeles. I'm sure there are a lot of waiters and actors that would argue with you on that fact.
I'm gonna ride with that one, bro. I'm gonna hold it down staunchly, aggressively.
What's cracking, BAOS?
Yes, welcome, bro. This is your third. We were just talking before, third time as a guest, and then you co-hosted. I think it was 6 times in LA in 2017. So next appearance will be 10.
You better get the embroidery on those jackets ready, man. I want to be the first to get one.
I'm gonna make that happen now because I've always wanted a jacket like of one of our brands. So
easy.
I'm excited. If anyone can do it, it's you, and we're gonna get into that this evening. But before we get into the good shit, we're gonna talk about the sponsor because once again, this episode of BOS is brought to you by the lovely folks at Manscaped, Teo, and Teo's gonna give his thoughts on the ad read as we go this evening. It's going to make it a lot more interesting, guys. So this is a little, I haven't got any new ad reads, so I feel like it's mildly dated, but spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up all the all the nooks and crannies of your body's basement. But this new year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit, Teo. Make sure you look your best this spring. What do you think the code is to get the discount?
10 the seller.
A little simpler, BAOS, but you were very close. Very close. Use the code BAOS to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, Teo. What a
say
deal.
That again.
I'm going to say it again. Manscaped.com.
What a
it's 20.
Name.
Isn't it beautiful? 20% off.
Said 20 what? Oh, that's crazy. You made a Manscaped myself?
Yeah. You can.
Is there a tutorial on partner manscaping? I feel like if that isn't out, that could be something that using the code, the BAOS discount code for the 20% off, that would be a phenomenal team player activity for manscaping.
You know what? I think we might be onto something. I might have to pitch that to them.
Yeah, man.
I like this. This is why we're
today. I mean, it's like, it's 2023, brother. We, got through COVID. Like our partners know that we manscape.
They
right?
do. They do. And now, what if you want to make sure that they know what if you're incapacitated but bushy and you need help?
Hello. Lord knows I helped out in a couple of hairy situations.
Literally and figuratively. So Teo, you know what it's time for? It's time to tame your mane, bro, with the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The sun is peeking back out. Well, look, in the East Coast, Northeast, in Los Angeles, it's always peeking out. And that means, Teo, that you're going to have to show your face in the daylight again. So use the kit to make your scruff look award-winning, whether you got a glorious beard flow or some smooth, sleek cheeks, buddy.
Yeah, I love that. I think I tend to look more like a shaven gopher when I eliminate my beard. So I think I'll go for the crisp cleanup with my Manscaped tools.
Well, it's perfect. The Beard Hedger Pro Kit can do exactly that.
The tool that you have right now in your hand?
Yes, sir. That's the one. Look at it. Look at the beveled edges here that makes it nice. You can just wrap your hands right around it. And
it fits in your hand perfectly.
Oh, it's like I've done this before. And you know what, dear? The kit starts off with the Beard Hedge, a waterproof cordless trimmer with a rotary reel. This little guy here that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of add-ons. Isn't that amazing?
You have some long hands, man.
Long hand. I got long piano playing fingers. I'm told. You know,
just go right around that beveled edge. That's
like
pretty incredible.
Gripping it like the girth on this is perfect.
Is when you're manscaping. See, I think one of the things that's cool about that is that is meant to stay in your hand, because if you just have regular clippers and you're manscaping some nether regions, like the grip on that can be pretty tough. Hold that up again.
Oh, I got it right here. So this is for the face, by the way. This is the Beard Hedger Pro. I do have the other one in the room though.
Oh man,
and it looks almost identical. Just so you know.
So if I use BAOS in the discount code, I get 20% off for this
and free shipping.
Oh, that's skepologist.
That's what. And you know what, Teo? There's a lot more. Do you see this kit? This kit right here? I got a lot of shit. Let me tell you a bit more about it. It also comes with titanium coated T-blades that are tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to a single stroke efficiency. And you and I are busy men who really appreciate a single stroke efficiency, and it brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. Thoughts?
I would say Tiffany probably doesn't agree with the single stroke concept, but
I'm sure that would please her.
Digress.
You digress. It's okay. I want to make sure you had a moment to just chime in there. Now, Tia, the Beard Hedger is a high-tech piece of art in a travel-size package. This little guy with a long-lasting battery, universal charging, and a strong motor. Okay? Now, Tia, the kit has liquid goods to make you feel good. Starting with the beard shampoo and conditioner, because you can't treat your beard like you treat your pubes, Tia, at all. This is a conditioner. Look at handy little container. Look at this. Beard shampoo.
First of all, you don't know how I manage my pube situation, but I digress.
You can share. This is a safe space.
Hey, you know what? It's a whole technique, different grade, different gauge of hair. I would imagine that there's different liquids for all the different courses of hair. Can you talk about that?
I would love to. And because you can't treat your beard like you treat your pubes here, that's why the kit has a special shampoo and conditioner specially designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, and replenish your beard's natural oils and promote beard health. And whilst I know you were referring to nether regions, the beard is a whole other different kind of hair coarseness.
There we go.
So it was a very intelligent question. Did I say beard juice?
Yeah. What did you say? Rejuicing the beard?
Let's say I said that. I like that. I don't know if I said it, but I like that. I feel like
it sounds healthy.
Very healthy.
I like a juicy beard, a juicy, healthy. No, like who wants a dried out, dilapidated beard?
Ain't nobody want that.
I'll take a juicy beard any day of the week, bro.
Especially in that California sun, that Florida sun, you know.
Hey, man.
Preach. Now, Tia, the Pro Kit also has Manscaped's beard oil, which also contributes to that juiciness. The nutrient-infused oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath, while adding a little shimmer and shine to liven up the look. I mean, what more do you need?
That's a really underrated piece of a product right there. When I tell you, when I go on set or when I do anything to put that lavish beard oil in my beard,
to everything.
I don't know, something about the light, the way it picks it up. Like I don't have it on now, and it doesn't look juicy.
It's not a juicy beard. And you know what will fix that?
I need to order that kit today.
You know where you would order it? Manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping if you use the code BAOS. It's crazy. It's just crazy. They ship directly to you right in LA. It's amazing. And you know what else? You can cap it off with the beard balm. Beard balm.
What?
Exactly. It's a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes.
Hold on, let me tell you. You could go into the spill in a minute.
Okay.
I prefer beard balm over beard oil.
Tell me why.
Something about it's not as greasy.
That's true.
Or it's not as oily. I think is the case. I love the way you just kind of work it in your palm, and then you work it in your beard, and it just feels light. And I don't know. I love beard balm. That's man.
I might be with
I'm
you
sold.
on that. Look, and you get it all, and you got the choice. Maybe one day, maybe one occasion calls for balm, and another occasion calls for oil. But either way, you got that beard juice.
Options
with Manscaped. And basically what this beard balm is, for those who don't know, because obviously you know very well, Teo, it's a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes, bringing the amazing scent of fresh eucalyptus from my homeland, rosemary, and lavender essential oils. Isn't that crazy?
You say eucalyptus?
Eucalyptus, bro. The koala's food of choice, cuisine.
So you're telling me if I have that beer bomb, then like koalas are just gonna descend from the eucalyptus trees and just like weep in joy?
And just maybe come and lick your beard gently,
Bro,
non-aggressively.
that
You know?
the
They can be
koala lick.
aggressive. Koala licks are the best. And, Teo, you know what? There's one final thing I need to tell you about. And the Beard Hedger Pro Kit, Teo, do you know what it also comes with? Do you know what it comes with? It comes with three free gifts, Teo. It's a beard brush, a comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. My favorite, Teo, look at this beard brush. It looks like a shoe cleaning thing. But look at
Nice
it.
fits in the palm.
Fits in the palm perfectly. It's rounded. And it
Normally I have my beard brush.
You have a beard brush? You just keep around? No shit. Look at that. Oh, look at us. We got the best beards in any podcast in the game.
I know. You know, beard maintenance is real, bro.
It's very important. And we're coming up to the summer, you know. Man's going to be outside like that, you know. So
Look at that. It looks better.
it's just the lines is perfect.
Here it is, bro.
Woo! So Teo, once again, I mean, look, you already know this. You know, if you want to save 20% off and get free shipping at manscaped.com.
BAOS. BAOS in the discount code area.
Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get 20% off on free shipping. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter. Focus on the face and use the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for the cleanest look in the game. Thank you, Manscaped. Look at that. Let's give them a round of applause, I think. Now it's time for the podcast. You are an expert, Teo, at this.
Bro, that's what happens, man.
It's a beautiful thing. It's great.
Family in the building.
Exactly, man. It's and we go back. I mean, look, people can listen to the old podcast for the full story. We'll probably go into some of that today, but I really want to talk a lot about what's happening because we had you on. I think it was around this time, so like April, May in 2020, because it was episode 9 of this new Adjunct series that we started doing virtually when we used to do them all in person. And at the time, you guys were in a much different position than where you are now. So I'm really excited to do it because you have there's so much has happened. Like literally you've got a physical space that's on the way. You've got a ton of different SKUs that are just regularly pumping out. And we're going to go through a bunch of those today because I think that's one of the main things that people are most excited about from Crowns and Hops is the beers themselves that, they've known the brand from Dope and Dank to Crowns and Hops for so many years. And now they actually get to drink it. And I spent a night and I got litty drinking all of these in one night last week. And I'm very excited to get back into it. Tell us what we're starting with, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thank you, C. Thank you, Tiffany. Yes, we are starting with our flagship Pilsner, Trill Pils. This is the beer that literally, I think, it really bookends the movement and why our brand is bigger than beer. So I'll just get right into
Yes.
I think it was really important for us also to lead with a beer from a style standpoint that what a lot of people don't know, most novice, but most beer connoisseurs appreciate is if you can nail a lager, clean, crisp, technically sound, beautiful white fluffy head, excellent carbonation, really just profiling the grain profile, the process, the lagering time, that really answers a lot of questions that people may have about you as a brand, as a brewery, and about your dedication to liquid. So we decided to pair this beer, this technically sound beer, Trill Pils, with our movement, which is the Trill Initiative, which we could get into a little later. But with no further ado, to you, cheers, sir.
Sir, cheers, my brother. Amazing to see you. Congrats on everything. Ooh.
Oh man, it's been a long day.
Oh,
What's up, T? I'm
Hey.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. You're in
I
the.
see,
You're in the thing.
I see Tiffany in the background.
She's
By
in
the
there.
way,
Just get in the fridge. Yes.
fun fact: it was not C, aka C4, that I met first. It
No.
was his incredible, brilliant black woman, social media, digital genius of a partner that I met first.
You
Because
did.
I would imagine she understood the power of the algorithm that ultimately would be how we reach everybody nowadays, with almost 8 years ago. So shout out to Tiffany,
Fuck.
man. Man, can you give
Yes.
Tiffany a hand clap real quick,
Let's give it a
man?
Cliff a hand clap. Look at that. Tiffany. She's the actual best, and I vividly remember. I swear we must have told this story on the pod, but you know what? It's been a minute, bro. So we can tell that shit again. We've probably got a whole bunch of different listeners now,
Yeah,
and I
man.
remember it very well because it was 2015, if I'm not mistaken,
Damn
when
it.
we had just started the podcast.
Yep.
And Tiff had sort of been, she'd been doing her liquid X happiness thing. So it was like wine, beer, coffee, spirits. And she'd been sort of discovering just, other black folks in beer and wine. Because, at the time, it's a bit different now. You could probably speak to that better. Back then, bro, it was very few and far between. So for Tiffany, it was super excited. I remember her showing me your stuff.
We literally found each other in different countries.
Yeah.
Like if you think about the significance of that, when what we were doing in terms of showcasing premium beverage, showing ourselves with premium beverage and premium lifestyle, it was just so far and few between. The only time you ever really saw it is when a big brand went out and got talent, but you really didn't see the consumers really taking not only an appreciation, but presenting that appreciation in a way that was curated, that was beautiful, that had incredible photography, content, and somehow Tiffany and I came across each other. And this is when I was building at the time the Black People Love Beer handle, which was our first handle. I mean, I was on that day and night.
That was
I mean,
before Dope and Dank, specifically.
that was before Dope and Dank. Yeah, Black People
Okay.
Love Beer was the original handle that's how she found me. That's how a lot of people found us, because we chose not to limp into social media with something so clever that you wouldn't understand what we wanted to talk about or what we wanted to share or ultimately be influencing. So we literally just chose a handle that was a sentence that hit to the core of what we wanted to talk about, which was diversity in Black people in craft beer. And I think it was a matter of probably within a week we were all either on a call or on something to where we were able to not only appreciate what we were doing respectively in our regions, but have a lot of fun almost immediately.
It was very cool, man. And I mean, it's been really, it's an honor to watch it, to call you guys friends and to watch that journey from that real like genesis of what you've created, and just to see the power of the community that's built around what you're doing in beer, and the way that you've like the people, like people really look up to you guys, and rightly so. And it's really cool to see that when people maybe will talk to us about y'all and they don't really know that we know y'all like that. And I'm like, man, this is cool as shit, bro. Like, it's just the full circle. And after I text you, said like, because I'm out here in Florida, I was able, it's a lot easier to get the beer. So you sent me some beer, and I was texting you, hey, man, it arrived. I'm going to drink it tonight. And I was texting you as I was going, and we got on the phone, and you were like expressing, which I think is worth touching on, being that we're cracking this beer first, that the pride that you had being able to finally really share all of your products that you've been working hard on so long with just the people around who care about the brand, who've been with the brand from the jump. I'd like love to hear your thoughts on that, because I just thought that was like sounds like an amazing feeling.
Well, one, and if you don't mind me, see, I want to tell people that are listening right now, we're going to get into Benny and my journey, in terms of how we became and made the leap from fans to essentially saying we were going to open a craft brewery, raising money, two different iterations of raising money. Maybe I'll dabble a little bit in investors, and ultimately where we're at right now, which is on the cusp of building out our space. Um, like I love kind of having an idea of what I stand to listen to, even though you're probably going to edit the hell out of this
No,
in your amazing editing capabilities.
we don't touch this shit, fam. We let it roll. We want it to be raw, dog. You know.
Yeah, because one of the things I hate doing is listening to a podcast and getting nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good to listen to people, but like people, I'm sure at this point have heard a lot about beer and diversity. What they haven't heard are strong positions on it. What they haven't heard are action items and expectations. You know, because ultimately, if we don't have that and we don't discuss those things, we're just two people talking about something. And for generations, people have been talking about the lack of diversity in craft beer, but doing nothing. And I think that's what makes our brand more than a brand in some instances. I think is why it's important to a lot of people, because Benny and I have had a position out the gate. Like from the beginning, we were like, we are going to have a position, and we've always challenged each other on it, on if what we were doing was going too soft, going too vanilla, going too weak. We talked about this, I think, in the room conversation when you used the word zany. I think.
Oh, it was
That shit was
in
funny.
LA. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
the wacky zany antics.
Use the
Oh, that
word
podcast.
zany.
That was a sick pod. That was episode like 68 of the original series. We did that in LA. I think it was in your office space, if I'm not mistaken. I remember you gave us we drank Cali beer, and I brought beer from Canada for you guys. I think you had Bellwoods,
right.
and I had Monkish. You guys gave us it was just like, that was dope, because that was the first time with the four of us, with Tiff and Benny, and all in person, and really like getting into it. But think about that, bro. That was 6 years ago. That was like Dope and Dank was Council Hops didn't exist yet.
Yeah, no, it did not. Yeah, we were doing. I think you all even came and just so people have an understanding of what we're talking about. Benny and I had an Instagram handle, Twitter handle. All our social media was Black People Love Beer at that time. Once we realized that what we were doing was bigger than race, but that it was ultimately about also being stewards of culture and protectors of our culture and owners of our culture, because at the time what we were experiencing was a lot of brands, to include craft beer brands, that weren't just borrowing and using culture as a way to show an ode or appreciation. They were making money off of our culture, whilst there was a lack of Black and brown owners in that same industry. And for us, we saw that as a pretty significant issue. So we went from just being a social media entity to a lifestyle brand called Dope and Dank, to where we actually did events. I think you attended our beer crawl, which was pretty awesome.
It was
in
fire.
LA. That shit was nuts.
It was
the
so
end of it,
fun.
oh my God, it was.
A quick note
so
on that, bro. Sorry to cut you off on this. I just wanted to, Tiff and I have mentioned this specific thing on the pod like probably 5 times. And RIP to Monkish Brewery at Monkish. I'm sorry, not Monkish. Mumford. I saw that, which was really sad. When we got to Mumford, I remember having this sort of revelation, or not even epiphany as much, but like I remember stepping into the venue and looking around. I think it was the second or third brewery on the trip, because it started at Boomtown. And it was, I remember looking around that venue, and there was every race, gender, sexuality, probably religion in a relatively small brewery space. And I've never experienced that either before or since, ever.
Yeah.
It was the most incredible thing.
And shout out to Todd and Peter Mumford, and Tian as well, Todd's wife. They had history in hip hop.
Right.
Like they actually, and forgive me if I get this wrong, everybody, but I'm sure the bloggers will correct me. They actually had a studio where Stone's Throw Records would actually record, and they have a very close relationship with hip hop. And one of the things that we realized, Benny and I, with our brand and what we were doing, is there are people out there that were and that are connected to the culture,
Right.
that do not look like us, that aren't black, that aren't brown, but have dedication and have shown commitment to the culture. And I think, and when I say the culture, I mean black and brown people that have been the creators of jazz, of hip hop, of R&B, of all the things that you cannot turn on your TV today and not see associated with products, with people, with cinema, you name it. So when I say the culture, I'm speaking specifically about black people and brown people in this country. So when people don't give attribute, when they don't acknowledge that the culture is something beyond something that they thought was a clever thing to throw in a can,
Mm.
um, that's where we saw a huge opportunity for correction, for accountability, and also for a a avenue to understand, okay, why is this industry not diverse? And a lot of it came on it was really about accessibility, and it was about people understanding a pathway to ownership, which Benny and I are hoping to do with our example, which has
Hmm.
been a pretty incredible, task. I think one of the things that you and T assisted us with, which was the completing of our first crowdfunding campaign, and I think that was probably the last time that we actually had a conversation on your podcast, was in the wake of completing that Indiegogo campaign. Shout out to Indiegogo.
Yeah.
And Lord knows we leaned on all those ads on Facebook, and every social media.
Oh
but
yeah.
I think
That was
between
crazy.
the velocity that we created on Facebook, Meta, Facebook at the time, and and just with you all helping us understand what consistency actually was. Because let's be honest, people hear it, the word being consistent, but to actually put consistency to practice is a
It's
lot of
tough.
fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
It. It's funny when I hear Nipsey Hussle's dedication,
Mm-hmm.
hard work. It just like, I think people just kind of just say the words and hear the verse and don't sometimes really understand what that really means.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? And you and Tiffany absolutely not only understood what it meant, but you could communicate it to others, and we were ready to receive it and apply it. And we were able to take down and complete that first Indiegogo campaign, which was pretty amazing.
That was a great time, man. So I think y'all got, from memory, it's like 70 something K, 75K out of like 5K of ads. And that was the first of multiple crowdfunding and equity campaigns
Yeah,
that you guys did. So I think there was a British one and then an American only one. Sort of like you'd had like the
yeah.
worldwide one and then, um, excuse me, country
So,
specific
so,
ones, if I'm
so
not
to be
mistaken.
clear, so to be clear, a little fun fact and a little lesson that I would
Mm.
love to share to anybody looking to do a crowdfunding campaign is consider shipping. We raised about 70,000, 75,000. We paid about 15 to 10,000 in perks and shipping.
Wow. Okay, so
Bro,
it wasn't
it,
built in.
it, it was probably one of the most gross miscalculations that we could have ever did. We thought we budgeted like for the shirts and for the hats and for the glasses and everything. We did not budget for the boxes and for the postage to ship to people
Mm,
all over the world,
yeah, that's true. And
bro. Oh,
yeah, that shit ain't
it
that, and
was.
that's not cheap at all. Particularly when you're doing some things with weight. I think the one that we got had like 4 glasses in it, plus
Right,
shirts. So like I was
right.
like, imagine the weight of that thing, and then you had to pack. You can't just throw a glass in a box. You got to pack that bad boy up.
Bubble wrap. We
Yep.
didn't count for bubble wrap. So
Damn.
lesson, or a nugget for all those that are preparing to fundraise. Um, do things that are light. Do things that ideally have one size, so that you don't have to deal with a bunch of different sizes. So hats are great. Glassware is great. But consider shipping and shipping cost. That is a major factor, that I think a lot of people don't discuss. I mean, Indiegogo didn't even discuss it, I think, at the time, um,
Right.
or if they did, we did not focus on it as much as we should. But yes, we completed that. The overseas campaign in the UK was launched, but we failed to raise. And in that campaign, if you don't make what your goal is, you don't get anything.
I know the ones.
So one of the things that we did not understand at the time when we launched that campaign is that we were unable to use our American-based social media to promote in the UK.
Really? How
Really?
do they check that? Do you mean like with ads, or you
It,
mean
it, so when it is a equity offering or an offering for
different rules?
equity, in the different rules.
Mm.
Indiegogo or traditional crowdfunding platforms. It's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's like, shoot from your hip, whatever you want goes. There are rules in place, but when it comes down to equity, to SEC offerings, to anything that involves protecting people and their money, there is a whole list of guidelines and lawyers needed in order to make sure that whatever you're doing is done in a way that is aligned with law. And no one knew at the time until we were ready to launch that we weren't able to advertise to, at that time, our 10, 15,000 plus followers. We had to create a new account that had 0 followers, and that was that's what we had to use in order to advertise our offering, and it failed miserably.
Okay.
Lesson learned, because what I will say is everything that we were prepared to do, and the game planning that we were prepared to do, almost a year and a half to 2 years prior, in another country, we were able to apply to a successful equity crowdfunding campaign where we raised $1,070,000
1 second.
American.
That's fucking insane, dude.
It's crazy, right?
Insane. I don't think that can be overstated. And I think the only people who can really understand what that means are the people who have started a brewery before and had to get that money, whether it's from friends, family, fundraising, banks, whatever, and then understand that you raised that. Was that an equity one?
Oh, the equity.
Equity.
So we have over 1,400 equity stakeholders in Crowns and Hops now.
I think that's extra dope.
Oh, super dope. Because that means for us, if you think about it, there are a lot of people that had to go to banks, that had to go to investors, that had to go to several traditional, more or less, ways of raising capital. We went to the community that believed in us, to raise capital. And what that did was a couple of things. One, it allowed us to start a process for actually building out and scaling what we were already doing, which was producing a shitload of beer for some incredible retailers and distributor partners that we have here in California and beyond. We work with Stone Brewing in Southern California and Breakthrough in Northern California. But we were able to scale. We were able to answer the call for our products, and also start the process of building out the space, which is
So cool.
incredible. But again, we were able to do that with our community, with the same community that people, when you talk about being an influencer, I think one of the things, and a really good friend of mine, Chris Classic, dope follow, dope person to really follow if you want to just see someone who literally not only reinvented themselves, but also just creates incredible brands. But one of the things that he said is, if you call yourself an influencer, what are you influencing? What are you influential in? Like, there has to be something other than likes. And for us, influencing racial equity in craft beer. And thank God a lot of people also agree with our position there and put their dollars behind that influence. That's how we're still killing it today.
Y'all were the first. It's incredible because to showcase an example of that, when we were running that crowdfunding campaign, we had access to all your social. I've never seen comments like that before. It was like annoying. Like, I'm like, oh, Teo's living this life every day. Every time we posted, there was like hundreds and hundreds of comments. Like, it was essentially impossible to stay on top of. Like, even with Instagram's what do you call it? Like, you can only have so many actions in an hour. Like, there wasn't enough a bandwidth to be able to keep up with it. And that really was the first time like I knew what you had done over the past, say, from that crowdfunding campaign. You'd been around about 4 years, I think. And in that time, that for me was what really demonstrated like, oh, this is what they've done. Like I'd seen it from the outside and seen the comments and I'd seen the way people respond and the things you share. But when we were sharing to stories, we were sort of doing that and responding to the comments and shit. It was insane, bro. So you're right. What you guys have done, and Tiff and I often use you guys as true examples of real, and I hate that word influencer. I can't stand it. It's so like it's been bastardized, I guess, and sort of overused and turned into something that like it doesn't really mean, I guess. And people go, yeah, I'm an influencer. Like you can't call yourself an influencer. It's so but you guys are beyond. You guys are probably the most perfect example of what you could, because influencer marketing is a thing and there's creators that are influential, but I feel like because you guys are like brewery owners that are influencers because you're influencing.
What we are, see, is we're community organizers, you know. And if you think about what we've done, we've organized our community as it relates to having a conversation around the lack of Black people in craft beer. You know,
There we go.
I mean, if you think about just the words community and organizing, there was no organization in the conversation around the lack of diversity in craft beer. There were people that were saying a lot of things, but there was no one saying, let's all come here and let's have a discussion and let's talk about it here. And we don't mind being the face of it. We don't mind, you know, taking the bullets. You know, Benny and I, like, you know, we always talk about our background in advertising and the entertainment industry as almost armoring us for what we would be exposed to. And a lot of it is, you know, a lot of harsh and a lot of disbelief and a lot of um, not not very flattering ways to address what your approach is. But you know, if you're built for it, if you have been in scenarios your entire career to where you weren't the only Black person in the room, you can, you know, you got tough skin, first of all, but then two, you know how to speak up for yourself. You know how to hold your position without it being perceived as anything else other than an excellent position and a well thought out position and or response. And that's I think one of the things that we're proud of. Is one of the things that we're really proud to continue to do with our 8 Trill initiative. And I'll just talk about that for a second. This this can this beer 8 Trill, it was based off of it was inspired rather from a document that we read that was written by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation called The Business Case for Racial Equity. And when we read that document during the middle of the pandemic, you know, when we had a lot of time on our hands, and then ultimately when George Floyd was murdered, it really gave us a new way to talk about diversity, inclusion, and ultimately equity. Everybody was talking about diversity and inclusion, diversity and inclusion, diversity and inclusion, but everybody would kind of gloss over equity. And I never really understood it. I don't think I ever took the time to understand it. But then when I read this document, they talked about the significance of equity and what it meant to not just give someone a job, a Black person a job in a white company, but to empower that Black entrepreneur to hire other Black people and individuals in his in their industry to train them up, and then they end up going into the workforce and inherently making the industry more diverse and inclusive. So, you know, equity is one of the most important things because ultimately it's a tide that rises all ships. So we really decided to take a term out of, or a statement in this document that said if we focused on racial equity in this country today, we stand to see $8 trillion to the national GDP. And that changed everything because all of a sudden it turned racial equity into an investment conversation for everybody. Like the GDP, that means everybody is going up, not just one person, not just Black people, not just brown people, not just Mexicans, not just Asian people. Everybody goes up when you focus on racial equity. So our nonprofit has a fund where through our collaborations, we took the position starting this year that we would no longer do a collaboration unless proceeds went to our nonprofit. We understand the power of our brand. We understand that in some ways or another, that ultimately when you do a collaboration with Crowns and Hops, or any black-owned brand for that matter, you essentially get a black card. And people were able to monetize that black card. And once we realized that that was a reality, we were like, okay, what are we doing in order to ensure that at some point there are black people that also can monetize their own country, their own culture in an industry that ultimately hasn't created a pathway for that. And I think Lynn Weaver at Three Weavers had a really interesting visual that she created for people when she talked about the inequity, and she talked about everybody having an opportunity, that there's some people that are standing on the ground, there's some people that are standing on the box looking over a fence, rather there's some people standing on the ground trying to get over the fence, or some people standing on the box hard looking over the fence. Then there's other people that are in a hole. And if everybody is given the same things, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody is still rising at the same pace if everybody has the same resources, and there isn't any preference on getting people out of the hole. And what we uncovered in 2020 is that black people in this country, for the large part, have been in a hole based off of systemic racism. So yeah, our brand and our mission with Trill is to create this fund to raise capital, to annually give grants to those in and around the craft beer industry that identify with being Black American. And we also have an arm of the nonprofit to where people can contribute. You know, so if you're Nike, if you're Patagonia, if you're, Kettle's chips, that if you still see the benefit, if you're Manscaped, if you see the benefit
Manscaped.com.
and racial equity, of racial equity in the country, you can contribute. Even if you don't have a brewery, you could still contribute to what, in our opinion, the beverage industry, the beer industry, touches so many different industries. I mean, think about Manscaped. I mean, it's kind of funny, but using them as an example, they literally have an entire industry of people that fuck with their product in craft beer, because what are we known for having it in beer?
Best beards in the game.
Damn right. So it's like, if you just think about what someone has the ability to impact, even if you're not in beer industry, by contributing to someone looking to increase racial equity in craft beer, it's a catalyst to rising tide.
I love that, man. Thank you for breaking that down, because I remember when you dropped all this, I was following on. But no, I think it was a lot of gems in that, and there's a lot of gold. I wanted to ask, and this is kind of a bit of a dumb question, but did you choose, just because we never actually discussed the beer itself, I just want to talk about, like, we're both basically nearly finished it. This thing is fantastic. Did you choose the style because it rhymed, like the Trill Pils? It's just a nice alliteration. No,
not. Actually, it just worked. I mean, literally, we were reading this document, and I was like, one, I always knew that we were going to do a lager. I didn't initially want to do a Pilsner, but I knew we were going to do a lager of some sort. And then when we stumbled across 8 trillion, or that stat, I'm like, man, it was just me and Benny, like we do everything. We were just kicking the name around, and I was like, man, 8 trill, that's a dope name. Let's just call it the 8 trill. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Trill Pils. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it just came together. I don't,
Makes
some
sense.
things happen. Most things, when you are working in your authenticity, when you're working in what is your calling, that shit just comes together. See, I don't know how else to say, outside of, I've been in different industries and I've been in different professions, and it has felt like a tug of war, either with the people around me, or with myself, more importantly. Everything that we do in Crowns, I mean, it just either feels good or it doesn't. And and it feels good, and it felt good. Trill Pils felt good, and we rolled with it. Hired an incredible artist a gentleman by the name of Upendo out of Watts, California.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually a pretty good segue for another beer if you're open to it.
I am ready. I'm excited. But this is spectacular. Just really want to impress all of the other things that you've said tonight about all the other things that you guys are about. I feel like that's what people know Crowns of Hops for. And I think, look at that, beautiful. The gold on the glass, sexual. I think this is like and also just want to shout out the can here, the top of the can, sexual. You like that? That's how it makes me feel. I don't know what to tell you. The gold cap with the black pull tab. It's it matches the gold text on the can, as well as obviously the black art.
Attention to detail.
It's details, man. This experience is spectacular, and this was, to be honest, this was the main one I was looking forward to, and I was really happy that I was able to get a hold of this, man. It's brilliant, and I'm just want to really quickly say that I think it's so sick that people have seen, maybe they came to the Dope and Dank events back in the day. They saw you transform into the brewery. They saw you sort of figuring it out, and we're going to get into how you got to where you are, from the different contracting and to where you're at now. But now they can experience Crowns and Hops. Like, there's the message side, and obviously it's all a part of the same structure. But now I feel like the message side can appeal to either it change some minds or it's going to be preaching to the choir. And now you got the beer. Now, people might not know what this is. They're going to walk into a store and they're going to see, oh, what's this? This looks sick. It's gold can. Got like what the white and bubble. It looks dope. They're going to drink it, and then they're going to read the back, and they're going to read about where it came from. They're going to learn something because they're going to be swept up by the product itself. And I think this is the next evolution of your brand. I think it's phenomenal.
Yep, 100%, man. Thank you.
Love it.
Like you mentioned when we started this conversation, to be able to give my friends a beer, to be able to give my family a beer, you have no idea how amazing it is. I think I have older daughters as well. I have a 26-year-old who is pregnant, so that means I'm going to be a granddad.
Grandpa Teo, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Congrats, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Coming in hot.
Wow, Grandpa Teo, you're not even 50.
I know.
Wow.
And
honestly, that's just spectacular.
Yeah, and I have twin daughters who are 23. I would say probably one of the most interesting developments for me personally was them understanding the culmination of everything that has happened over the past like 7-8 years, because they didn't get it. I mean, I barely got it,
I bet.
But once I did get it, once Benny, and the same for Benny, like Benny, like I'm sure like there are people that looked at her, as this incredible marketing and advertising executive, from Beach by Dre, from McCann, from Sonos, from all these incredible experiential companies. And they looked at her like, beer? Like what? Like, I don't get it. No one got it, and it's very hard to get it if you weren't with us in 2015 to see what the opportunity was.
Yes.
And not only did we experience everything that we had talked about up until this point, which was a lack of diversity, the movement, the equity position, but just putting on a different hat. I'll actually put on a different hat. Putting on a different hat. We as business people, saw a huge opportunity, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like it was like there was a point in time to where you could look up stock images for beer, and not one image had a black face, had a black hand, had a black woman, nothing. Like, bro, this was 8 years ago. Nothing. Maybe there was a one token black guy laughing way too hard in the corner of the freaking image. But outside of that, like there was nothing. So Benny and I, we were like, wait a minute. We looked at our industries and what we've done for several brands all over the world, and we were like, oh my God, like we can do something here. Like we can Like we could take our no big deal skills, and like a lot of people know, like Benny and I used to date. We stopped dating and literally the next week went back to work because we understood the opportunity that we had. We
Right.
understood like what our no big deal skills were. We understood that we were like a yin and a yang, and that ultimately, if we focused on it and dedicated ourselves to it, we were going to kill it. And we chose that.
And best decision you ever made, my man. It's incredible. It's
Shout
phenomenal.
out to the OGFCs.
I don't know why I didn't get the hat. I got the T-shirt and I got the card. I have the card in my wallet and the glassware.
I got you, homeboy.
I think I mustn't have picked the package.
You've earned an OGFC cap.
Oh, I can't wait to get out there. Let's go.
I might even customize it for you and T.
Dude, we can make it match the jacket.
60 better.
I love that hat, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
Oh, I love it. I definitely want to talk about the merch, but let's get that next beer. Dopest.
Dopest.
Okay.
And actually, it's cool. I want you to actually hold the Dopest. Dopest.
I'm gonna grab it. That fridge right there. Yeah. Keep talking to the people. I'll be 2 seconds.
I'm watching you. Okay.
You'll see.
Yep. One of the what is that? I might go Usher. Watch this. One of the cool things about the Dopest is it's actually using the background art, the same background art that we have for Trill Pils. And I can't even turn it. You know, I'm looking at the screen and I can't. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, same. Trying to like figure it out.
Yeah, but if you see that art, it's the same art. We just ultimately did kind of a reciprocal of the art for the Dopest. Also, the Dopest is a portion of our new rebranding of our labels, just to do a little bit more brand continuity. So you have that nice little horizontal crowns and hops going. Yeah, bam, there it is. Woo, that looks sexy.
I love that.
So we'll get into the Dopest. Go ahead and crack that bag, girl, open. You know what? I try and put in boy and girl sometimes, and sometimes it still sounds even fucked up.
No, I would call a beer. I call everything a bad boy, but technically, like I feel like beer, because in French and I guess in Spanish, it's a female. Like it's isn't it la cerveza and la bière? So it's in languages that have a gender. It is so like it makes it easier to be like, I like it. I think it's okay still. I hope so.
Well, we have Motueka, El Dorado, and Citra hops. So the aroma on this is one of my favorite things. Super tropical, stone fruit, almost a hint of pineapple that you're getting in there. El Dorado is one of my favorite hops.
Great one.
Yeah, it's freaking incredible.
Underused.
Yeah, people were coming up on it, and I went to some OG Mosaic hops. I just crushed them up this year, and was really happy with not only that almost no-brainer tropical component that you get out of Mosaic, but also the dankness that I was getting out of it. It reminded me of like the original Mosaic beers that I fell in love with. They were just dank. You know, that was kind of why Dope and Dank kind of came into effect. And got the nice crowns and hops glassware for this.
I wish I did it. We did this at home. I would have all my glassware. God damn it.
Yeah, I know. I have way too much glassware. Like, cheers, sir.
Cheers, my man. I'm excited.
Yep.
Ooh, smells dank.
But that aroma, you got to get it with the aroma. I mean, the aroma is like, people don't realize, and this is actually truthful. You taste 80% based off of what you are inhaling, what you are smelling.
So
and
true.
If you don't nail the aroma, then you are going to fail in the flavor.
Facts. I think that's why I always, as I'm drinking, even once the can is empty, I'm always smelling the can.
Always. Yeah,
particularly for hoppy beers. This is great.
Woo! Are you, man, that's money.
So
this beer.
This is beautiful. So, by the way, the first one, actually, I think we forgot to even say the 8 Trill is it 5 even? Yeah, 5%,
5%.
and this is 6.8. And I think basically most of the beers that I have a 6.8, if I'm not mistaken. Which is that intentional?
It's a sweet spot for me.
Okay, I like
For
that a
me,
lot.
um, mouthfeel is a very important aspect of designing beers to me. And I love, for me, for my IPAs, for my tart ales, for anything that's not a lager, I love to fall within a 6.5 to 6.8. That's a really good sweet spot for me. I love the tongue tingle that you get
Mm-hmm.
with it. I love the way that it carries the flavor profile, with just a mild heat of alcohol, if you will,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
on it. And to me, that's just almost like a reminder of you're drinking a beer.
Mm.
You're drinking beer. I'm not the biggest fan of session IPAs and session pale ales, if you will. Um, but a
I
nice
agree.
6, 8, seven
Money
percent beer is
between
pretty
six and
pretty sexy.
seven is the money zone. I say that all the time. I couldn't agree more. I feel like if it's a pay, I don't like it when it's like, I know this is dumb, but if it's called a session IPA, my interest is gone. If it's called a pale ale and it's 5%, oh, it's
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
that-
be a pale ale. Don't give me a session IPA. Give me an IPA or give me a pale ale, because a pale ale does the same thing. It's just a marketing purpose, I believe. But this is like,
totally.
I was very happy that all of the beers were in this zone, because I also feel like whilst I love a good double, the night finishes a lot quicker when you rock those. And this
100%.
is, I was able to get through 4 of your beers. I was pretty lit, but I was able, comfortably and enjoy them all and be able to really like appreciate all the flavors. And this is really dope, man. The body, like, is phenomenal. It's super creamy. It's got all of those
Yep.
descriptors, lots of citrus, kind of papaya, um,
Ooh,
like citrus.
okay.
Yeah, that's it. Like orange specifically, but it's so that dankness that often comes with the. And I know that you're a big West Coast IPA guy, and I'm seeing that as like a consistent thing, because the next beer we'll be able to talk about that a bit more. But I see that dankness, which I guess is the El Dorado, as you mentioned. So it just comes together really well. It's like, would you say then that this is this a good representation of where New England IPAs are at on the West Coast right now?
100%.
Okay.
I would almost call this a West Coast drinking hazy IPA.
Huh. So then
We
keep going.
go ahead.
I was gonna say,
No,
what
no, I
would
was
be
gonna,
the difference then? I'll go. What would be the difference between? I know, right? That's only downside of the internet conversations. What would be the difference between a typical, say, East Coast New England IPA and then say a West Coast hazy IPA? From a brewer's perspective.
I would say the West Coast hazy IPA producers um, are not afraid of the dank.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of the hop signature. Where I think, and this, you know, super humble opinion, that there are those that study this shit far more than I do. But based off of my experience, um, I feel that there are times where the hop profile is muted to appease to the demographic of those that don't like hoppy beers.
Huh.
Um,
That's weird.
being in on the West Coast, being in California, being in LA, with our big sisters up there in the Bay Area, like, we fucking love our hops, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we got Yakima Valley just north of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you have access to just these beautiful, fragrant, pungent, resiny hops, the last thing you want to do is subdue them and not
Right.
give them an opportunity to shine. So one of the things that I think is prominent about our hazy IPAs is our carbonation level as well.
Hmm.
We tend to go a little higher on our carb. Again, I love the entire
Huh.
experience, specifically what's happening on your palate and how the the flavor profile is traveling through your palate and your nostrils, and you know, throughout your entire mouth. So carbonation aids in that, um, but ultimately we still are able to capture based off of ingredients, based off of, you know, oats and wheat and elements that really help to provide that creamy mouthfeel and that sensation. We're able to couple that with just a very specific hop signature, which I think a lot of breweries on the West Coast have started to become more comfortable with and not to lean away from. I'll be honest with you, bro. I almost fell into that space of not wanting hoppy, dank beers,
Hmm.
and you know, to
What changed?
just keep it.
Yeah, keep it
I
100.
realized, you know, yeah, I didn't keep it 100. And when I realized that I was not drinking my own beers as much as I was drinking the beers that I'm describing to you right now, I realized we had to do an immediate change. It was costly. Um, you know, there are lots of cans. All really solid beers, but they weren't the beers that, in my opinion, spoke to a point of differentiation and everything that I'm telling you about that I'm excited about. You know, I'm excited about the Dopest. You know, it's called the Dopest for a fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? And we wanted to make sure that it hit on all those marks.
Interesting. And hearing you say all this, I'm starting to maybe it's starting to click a little bit. And I've heard someone say this before, and now I get it. Someone was saying that the East Coast, the hazy IPAs are typically a little sweeter and probably lower carb, like you said. A lot of them don't lean into the dank for sure. So they're kind of more that sort of like murky haze where it looks like straight like yellow milk, I guess, and a little more just straight.
That
Is it not?
sounds terrible.
I know it sounds terrible, but goddamn,
That
it's
sounds.
good, right?
Hey, would you like a glass of yellow milk, please?
Yes,
No,
yes, I
I have it
would.
sour. Is it flat yellow milk? I'll
Mm.
take it.
Oh, best yellow milk I've ever had, and it's
Bro,
like
bro,
that's fascinating. Yes,
I love drinking beer, dude.
mm.
I
Preach.
love drinking beer. I love drinking beer.
It's the best, isn't it?
I love drinking beer. So I'm not gonna go as far as to be like, man, I'm a beer. I love drinking beer. And see, and this is how you tell that C and Teo are starting to get a little faded when Teo starts doing all of his voices.
Zany. It's still one of my favorites to this day.
Oh my god, I looked at that
Ah,
shit the other day. I think it was on your birthday. I reposted that shit.
you did.
Oh my god.
It was brilliant. God, it was a good fucking time. It's it's fascinating to hear all this though. It's really dope though, like pun intended.
The dopest.
The dopest. Some might say, oh, that could be a good episode name. I'm writing that. I'm writing the ideas down as we go.
There it is, bro.
Yeah, man. It's. I think this is great because like once again, we're talking through the beers as we're drinking them and talking about it's not about the beers. It's like I feel like this is like the evolution of the brewery now. This is like this whole new era that people can get to try this stuff and really see what, you're actually the man making the stuff. Like you're actually doing this personally,
I
right?
I respectfully work with a phenomenal team of brewers that also help me execute these beers. I build the recipes. Um, I
Okay.
build many of the aspects that the beer ultimately will take on in terms of characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't without, I have to honor the people in those brew houses.
Of course.
They do a phenomenal job of executing our beers. Um, we evolve and we change and we alter and we shift if it's not there. And just to give you some context, the base of this beer I would call BPLB.
Hmm.
But we were able to take BPLB, which was Mosaic, Motueka, Citra, and Eldorado. I was able to take out something that I felt didn't speak to everything that I described this beer to be.
Mm.
Um, that, in my opinion, could really be a way of showcasing how our region interprets this style of beer. I
Hmm.
feel like we've accomplished that with this iteration of this particular beer, which isn't foreign. I think most people probably stay with a base or a yeast or a grain bill or a hop profile, and then they work it out. But what we achieved on the Dopest is one of the reasons why it is now the core, which is a really interesting conversation flip, if you will, which
Please.
is kind of how we struggled with our flagship BPLB.
Yeah, I was about to say,
B-
why the change?
yes, so BPLB, as most people know, was the very first beer that we brewed, which stood for Black People Love Beer, Brown People Love Beer. Um, has been our flagship hazy IPA for almost 2 years now. It's still in our core, but I like to refer to the Dopest and Trill as our flagship because they represent who and where we are today.
Right.
Um, the BPLB, as dope and as instrumental as it has been, it is probably one of the most difficult beers to remember the name of. If you are not Black and you are not brown, and or you have just learned about who we are, the thought that you are going to remember BPLB is almost slim to none. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a restaurant and seen the acronym spelled wrong. PLBP, LPBP, like I mean, I've seen everything. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like,
Read the cap.
but if it's on a tap, if it's on a handle, like how's he going to register if they're just looking on a menu? Most people are just like, give me the hazy IPA, or do you have a hazy? And the last thing you want as a brewery owner who your sole goal is to sell liquid is for people not to remember the name of your liquid.
Yeah.
Like that's like a losing battle. That's when Benny and I had to really take a step back and say, okay, do we want BPLB in the world, and are we pushing this as our core beer because we want it to be, or because it is? And when we looked at all these facts of that it just wasn't taking root, regardless of it being a beautiful beer, it was undeniable. And I think kind of like and I will say BPLB is not going anywhere. It'll still be there when we brew it at the brewery, or when we open a brewery. Like that shit will be flowing from at least 2 to 3 taps: BPLB, BPLB, DDH, and DIPA.
Okay.
But as it relates to the beer in our world, the Dopest really kind of had to take that front seat, dude.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
you put it like that, and like I think this is one thing people forget about beer, is that it's a business primarily, and if there's going to be some sticking points about that, and if you're noticing the bars and stuff aren't treating it right, like even if it's just I understand BPLB, it is a similar, a lot of the letters sound the same when you say this shit, so I do get it to a degree, but also I get annoyed at the lack of attention to detail of everybody on earth right now anyway. So it's like this just makes so much more sense, and I feel like it's like you said, it's probably an easier, smoother introduction to the brand, as opposed to something
yeah,
like that. They can come to the like to me, and this is a question and a statement, I guess. To me, I think all of the products you've got now are pre-introducing everybody in all the different markets where you ship. I know you ship nationwide, which is incredible as that is. Introducing people to the brand, and once the brewery actually opens, then they can get the true Crowns and Hubs experience with all of the variants. I know one of the sours we're going to drink later, there's multiple versions of that, and I'm sure you probably have a million, like you said, your 3 versions of the BPLB on tap, blah blah blah. So I think that's sort of like, is that sort of the intention, where maybe the flagships and these core beers are establishing the brand, and when you get the brew pub, then you hit them with the fun shit.
I think one of the things that we have the luxury of doing, it's a blessing and a curse, because I think most people, if they brew a beer and it bombs, they can just pour it in their tap room. You know what I'm saying? They could just, they got the luxury of just putting that shit in kegs and putting it in the cooler, and just when it goes, it goes.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have that luxury. We rely completely on our distribution chain, our distribution partner rather, and our retailers. So we have to make sure we almost approach every one of these brands as like its own entity. Like, how will this be successful? The first time we launched Mama's Keys, we were like so clever with the label that we put a bunch of keys on it, and we had like little pieces of wisdom on each key and stuff. But the problem was no one knew it was a fucking key lime tart ale. So you just had this beautiful can sitting on shelves that no one knew was a key lime tart ale.
Right.
And you know, at the time it was a goes, but we take these releases as opportunities to, one, understand what the consumer is going to remember, especially if it's a beautiful recipe. The last thing we want to do is put a terrible brand with a beautiful recipe. And you know, it's exactly. And it's something that we've, you know, been learning and getting our footing in. So ultimately, to your point, when we do open a space, you know, the goal will be, look, you can hear LA coming alive.
Hey, let's go. Hope they're okay.
Yeah, but by the way, shit, man, we don't know what's going on. It could be someone tripped, and the cops will just freaking set it off over here. Right now, I am right off of Crenshaw Boulevard and Martin Luther King.
Let's go.
In the Baldwin District, Crenshaw District of Los Angeles.
Is that
so shout out to everybody.
Sorry.
A little further south.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm on the 40s.
Okay. Different.
Yeah, MLK and Crenshaw. A little bit different.
Okay. I love it.
But shout out to everybody on the block, man. We love this neighborhood and everyone in it so much, you know, which is why we believe that they deserve their own pub, their own brew pub. You know, people forget that pub is an abbreviation for public house. And if there are no public houses in communities that that ultimately need an opportunity to gather and to conspire and to work together and to meet their neighbors, we see Crown's Inglewood as ultimately being an extension of everyone's living room. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. It's so important. And
I like when you do that. I like when you love
do you like that? I'm just soaking it up. I'm soaking up the wisdom, bro. What the Hey, if my man's just dropping knowledge, I'm going to give him a you know? I feel like you deserve that.
So let's switch this up because this is you and me talking. We're just hanging out. When we talk first, we have like some of the most inappropriate shit ever that we will not bring up on this podcast. No. But like I love you. See, like you are my dude. And
from time.
So I gotta ask you a couple of questions, bro.
The floor is yours.
You didn't think I was gonna ask some questions to you, did you?
I kind of not surprised in hindsight, but I didn't think about it.
Because I have insight.
Well, we haven't caught up for a minute, like at this length. So I imagine there's probably I've still got more for you, trust me. But yeah, man, let's take a Teo. Teo's now the host. Let's fucking go, Grandpa Teo. Tiff. Teo's gonna be a grandpa. I'm just telling Tiffany right now. Teo's gonna be a grandfather. She's pausing her show. Teo is about to be a grandfather this year. What? Grandpa Teo. I know, isn't that cute? He's like.
So for all the listeners, my daughter is about to be 27. She has been married for 4 years and lives in a beautiful home in Spokane, Washington. So.
Oh, she's in Washington. Okay. Shouts to Rachel Dolezal. Exactly.
Thank you, sis.
Oh, you can hear. He can hear. Yes. So he's saying his oldest daughter, is about to be 27. She's currently pregnant. Is she due this year?
No, next year.
Next year. I'm sorry. Oh, 2024. Tears a grandpa.
No, she's due next.
Well, it's April, so.
One baby and you're already a grandkid. Look at that.
Look at that. Hey, that means your son and your grandson are going to be very similar ages.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
Yep, they're gonna be like, "What up, nephew?"
And he's gonna be one. It's like Takeoff and Quavo. All right, rest in peace,
man. Bro, like, you know what? I went down like the rabbit hole. I didn't even know like Offset was like suing their label and everything. That was like some whole drama. I did not know.
It's crazy. Honestly, I imagine you're probably not. We're not their target market. But I was very, very, very sad about Takeoff because I had the Quavo and Takeoff album. I actually listened to that multiple times, and I've always been a vocal opposite. I've disliked Migos aggressively, but then that album Takeoff was like significantly outshining everybody, and
Yeah.
and then really looking at him as just a quiet, chill guy, just doing his thing, and he's the one who got caught up in some fuck shit, and now his uncle and his cousin are fighting. It's just really sad, bro. Like it was really, really sad, and I was way sadder about that than I thought I would be.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man. That shit's fucked up. Terrible.
Yeah, it's tough. Hip hop, man.
Most dangerous.
The cool thing
job.
about what you and I represent.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, we froze for a second. Yeah. You're back. It's zany. Woo.
Okay, I'm back. So I didn't do anything zany there. Don't you even
Later you will.
give me that.
Beer
all right,
4.
so question for you, bro.
Yeah, bro.
When we met, and I think in the last conversation that we had, like you were doing a lot with beer and other shit, and I remember the evolution of that. It was like really almost like, this really, you had different iterations of partners and individuals, but one of the things that I was most excited about was you doing beer collaborations.
Yes.
So like I had an opportunity to have a Get It In Ya. Get it in ya.
Get that in ya.
Get it in ya.
Put it in ya.
Are you doing another collab or doing collaborations? Like talk to me about your is that in the stars? Like, I mean, talk to me about that.
Yeah, man. We've done about 20, I think now.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I've done so many. We've been doing mostly in Quebec. I've got Get It In. You know what? I don't know should I say this now? I'll tell you off air. I got something happening with the original Get It In, because Get It In was our first canned collab. I'd done other collabs before then. Since then, we've done a ton. Mostly in Quebec. The Quebec folks really love the collabs. I got something coming with. How much can I say about all this shit? Actually, well, I guess it's not a big deal.
Man, drop at least 2.
I'll drop some. Okay.
Stop being a punk. Stop being a chump.
I can tease it now because I guess not everyone's had. So Get It In Ya was the first one with Sawdust City, which is a brewery in Muskoka in the
That was the green can with you and the homie on it, right?
with me and Scotty on there. So we're doing 2.0 this summer. So
Okay.
that is happening.
Pause.
Yeah, Scotty's great, man. I speak to Scotty all the time, like almost every day. He's got 2 beautiful children and a wife. He's stack of money doing his thing. Doesn't really drink a lot of beer these days, but he's still one of my closest friends. So it's all love with Scotty. He's a beautiful man.
Bro. What up, Scotty?
What up, Scotty? You sad? I bet he doesn't even listen to that motherfucker. I'm gonna tell him to listen. So we did that. So we have 2.0 dropping this summer, which we've discussed. I'm very excited. I was trying to get it in time for the 5-year anniversary, which would have been this February, but it didn't work out. So we're doing it in the summer. The other one we have coming, and this is 5 years from that one, I guess. Yeah, which is kind of crazy. I guess the first collab would have been 2017 with Helm in Montreal. So then there's a brewery in Gatineau, Quebec called 5e Baron. So 5E, like 5th Baron.
And you just said a whole lot of words.
A whole lot of French stuff.
My brain, bro.
I know, right? It's a lot. But we have a collab with them finally coming up for their 3rd anniversary, which is I'm super excited about because it's an Aussie beer. And them, I have to tell you about them. We have you were talking about
beer in Canada.
Yeah, an Australian style. It's not the first time it's been. It's the 3rd one that I'm aware of now. There's actually one that's dropping through our non-profit, which I don't think I've ever told you about our non-profit, but
no, you have.
I have.
I mean, we've spoken briefly about it, but I would love to get more into it with me now being the host and you being the interviewee. Like, I'm very interested in hoping that you can delve into it.
I would love to tell you about it. I can keep going about the collabs, but I think there might be some opportunities to see if we can cross promote all of our shit together and see if there's something, because we essentially have the exact same mission. A Trill all fucking day. So yeah, it's okay. But yeah, we had a bunch of collabs, man. We've been doing a lot of collabs over the years, and the collabs have been a lot of fun. I'm not always there for the brew days because during COVID, to be honest, there was probably more collabs than beforehand. And I guess there was a restriction, obviously, on the travel. Canada was a little more strict on all of the rules and bullshit during that time, so we weren't able to sort of go to places. But we did collabs in like Quebec City and in Montreal a bunch. So we did the smooth with the brewery called Kanawaki is the first brewery on a native Canadian reserve in Canada, so called Kanawaki, and we did 2 different smoothie sours with them. We did one which is really funny. The first one was called Shelfabicky, and I won't say it on air what it means, but it's an Aussie saying that is absolutely fucking mind-blowing to me that we got that on a beer can, because you say that to an Aussie and they'll be like, and there's a beer called that. That's pretty crazy. So it flew under the radar.
You know, a couple other things you Aussies say that you should get your hands slapped on.
Yo, imagine putting that on a can. Woo! Crowns of Hops. Ex-BAOS. C-Bomb.
Blank juice. Woo!
Oh, people who know, you know what the hell we're talking about here. Oh, God. But yeah, man, we've done some collabs. We out here.
So it almost goes without saying, like, we are going to have a fucking collab. Like, we are, like, that
yes,
shit is
please.
going to fucking, it is going to happen.
It's just a matter of whenever it's ready, we are ready, sir. I know you've got a lot happening, but when the time is right, you say the word, it would be an honor and a privilege.
Bro, one of the things that that I miss the most about being in the influencer space is trying so many beers.
Yes.
That was something that I not only enjoyed from the tasting of beers, but just the meeting of people, like the people that we've met. I mean, like, you met a lot of my friends that I've met from traveling and just being a fan of the industry and just building relationships with. And that would be probably one of the things that sucks the most about ownership, is that you are so committed to your brand, your IP, and everything going on that you can't really just be that social beer butterfly anymore.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, like, what right now is killing it for you? Like top 2 or 3 in the States and top 2 or 3 in Canada for you right now?
That's a fun question. Okay, very easy. In Canada, the top 3 would be Badlands Brewing. So I was talking to him today. Shouts to Troy. He makes the best haze, arguably in the world, according to other friends who've told me.
Best haze?
Well, Badlands, apparently. And I am starting.
No. I'm saying,
oh,
what makes? The best
what
haze?
makes it? I'm sorry, I thought you said who. What makes it? So with him, it's, you know, we were just talking before about that sort of like the milky yellow, the yellow milk. He does a more yellow milk style haze, definitely on the sweeter side. There's a dankness to his stuff though. I'd have to almost try it side by side, because I've been to the States a bunch recently. I haven't been drinking as much Canadian beer because I always bring too much back, and I got to get through the American stuff first. So I haven't had his this year as much as I had last year, but there's like there's always like a dankness, that real, like, you know, it's very, it's sweeter, very, very tropical and citrusy, very consistent across the board. It's always like you drink it and you're like, you know, very aromatic, like you mentioned earlier, which is super important. They're out of a place called Caledon, Ontario. So they're about an hour from where I live now in Hamilton. Okay. And they are on a farm, and literally his front door is like meters from where people come and drink. It's crazy. So it's his wife's parents' farm.
What's a meter?
A meter is 3 feet for Americans. Thank you. Hey, we're in the States. I have to learn too. I still have to learn Fahrenheit for degrees. I know Fahrenheit for oven. Put that bitch on 400. Let's go. But I don't know what it is outside. 425. Another one in Canada, and I'm telling you, you should definitely check all of these people out, because I feel like you'd really enjoy them.
I'm taking notes.
You're taking notes. Okay, so Badlands Brewing.
because guess what you're gonna be sending me when you get back?
Some motherfucking Canadian beer. I owe you some. Let's go.
Right, man. Badlands. Who else?
Third Moon, and they are based out of Milton, Ontario. Pardon?
Great name.
Great name. So they have a real, like, their art is super cool. It's very like lots of skulls and crazy shit.
Of course, with a name like fucking Third Moon, of course.
It fits. So Bebo, the brewer from Third Moon, is from Chicago actually, but he's been in Canada a long time. He's the one who told me that Badlands make the best haze in the world, and Third Moon are very, very like those two are basically equal for me. They do everything. So Badlands do almost exclusively haze with a bit of crispies and a bit of stouts. Third Moon do basically kind of all the things that you would anticipate: the smoothie sours, crazy pastry stouts, barrel aged stuff, barley wine, pilsners, slushy machine, all the. Yep. So Third Moon, and then the third one, which is something that I think you might like, is a brewery called Godspeed. And they're in Toronto. They just down the street from where my brother lives. They have their brewer is an impeccable dude from Quebec who does some of the best Czech pilsners I've ever had. They have a bunch of Luca taps. They're one of my favorite places to visit. They have an authentic Japanese chef there, so they have these real fire Japanese food with Luca taps with all these crazy like. It's not crazy. It's actually the most traditional shit. They actually got I don't know what it's called. It's not a fooder, but it's like a huge pitch-lined barrel made by the dudes at Pilsner Urquell for them, shipped over, and they actually age the beer in this wooden barrel. It's insane how good this shit is. So like,
oh, I'm so jealous of you right now, man.
I can get you some of that, no problem. And they're wonderful people, great folks, and the beer is just disgusting. So those are probably my top three in Canada. Now, the States, and this is what made me kind of interesting. The last 3 years since COVID, we didn't travel. One, because we couldn't, and then two, because I didn't really want to until everything has like went back to normal, because I wasn't interested in going to places where everyone's in fucking lab suits and plexiglass everywhere.
Or you're just scared, you know. I mean, you can just say that.
I'm a pussy hoe. I'm a pussy hoe.
You just put it out there. You scared.
I'm scared. You know what? Not anymore. I'm out here. I'm fucking out here. I'm outside, Teo.
No. It's you in the States now. You out here.
I'm out here. I understand. You know, catch me outside. How about it? I'm in Florida. Okay.
Come about me. Oh, man.
Oh, tell them. I feel like you need to be out here. You are Florida man, maybe. I don't know. American breweries. Okay, my favorite right now. Okay, because I guess my point is I haven't tried as much. I haven't been. You know, I was drinking a ton of American beer always. I went to Rochester and Buffalo in February, and then we went down the East Coast, and we've been in Florida for the last couple of weeks, and we're going to still be here another couple of weeks, and we're going to go back up. So my favorite brewery so far, and I'd been there before, but Triple Crossing.
Let me give you a disclaimer.
Please.
You say so many beer. I'm only asking you for your favorite breweries of this quarter.
Of this quarter. Okay, sick. I got you. That's easy.
Because I'm well aware
of what's fire.
That might be.
Yeah, and it can change as things go. So Triple Crossing in Richmond, Virginia. Shouts to Eric Jackson from Capsule, who was working there. So I swang by on the way down because we went. I know Eric because of you. Eric is the man. So we posted from the parking lot of Triple Crossing, and then he ran outside. He said, and we had already left. I didn't know I forgot that he worked there. So I picked up a case of Triple Crossing, and I am enamored with their stuff. I got all their Crispies, and I got all the rest, all like Hellas, their Pathway Pills, and their Czech Dark Lager, and then I just got a double IPA. All of them are so deeply.
When you say Crispies, are you talking about lagers?
Yes.
And
sorry.
West Coast or what?
No, just lagers. Crispy Boys are lagers specifically. Yes, I'm sorry. That's the way the Canadians refer to it. Do you guys not say that?
You might have it. No, we do. Like I describe my beers, my lagers, and my pilsners, and my Italian pilsners as crispy.
So you are correct about West Coast, though. I see what you're saying, but West Coast, I would call it a West Coast specifically because it's an IPA. Word. So Triple Crossing. I got to, what else was super fire? Other Half in general. I hadn't been to Other Half, but I went to the one in Buffalo and Rochester.
Who?
Other Half. Oh, wow. You're cultured. You know how people talk. You know.
Wow.
So Other Half were definitely just a lot of fun. I just think they're fun as shit. I love that they do everything.
What about talk to me about Other Half? Why?
I love their branding first and foremost. I love that they've expanded everywhere. I love that it's easier to get this stuff that I used to have to go to fucking Brooklyn and grab. I've been there like 4 times. Every single time we go to New York, I'll go to Other Half. But now Buffalo is 50 minutes from where I live. It's closer for me to drive to Buffalo than it is to drive to Toronto. It's fucking crazy.
Wow. By
And
the
then
way,
there's
shout out to the homie Jerez and Breezy.
Oh, she does brew for them. I know her because she used to brew for Indie, and she was your homie in LA. Yeah?
Guess who made that introduction?
Of course it was you, motherfucker. You know everybody. Tio's the man. Who doesn't he know? And the third brewery. Okay, so Rochester's become a real favorite of mine. Rochester, New York is really yeah. I'm surprised at how dope it is. So I'm so impressed, and I've got all my homies know everybody, but my boy works at a brewery called Mortalis. Are you familiar with them?
No, but it sounds cool.
Okay, so Mortalis are really big with their stouts and their smoothies primarily. They do like haze and crispies and stuff, but their smoothie sours are unlike anything I've ever had, and their stouts are phenomenal.
Have you had the Hudson Valley?
I've got
Tart ales and sours?
Yes, I had the brunch ales. I actually got some from Rochester. I've got one still at home in the fridge that I should have brought with me, but I knew I'd be drinking American beer, so I didn't. But yeah, very impressed by Hudson Valley as well, but I haven't had their proper smoothies.
I have a question for you, bro.
Talk to me.
Not to interrupt, but to interrupt.
It's your podcast.
We're drinking beer on this podcast, and I am not going to disrespect this podcast by peeing in one of these empty vessels.
You go do that. I'll hold it down.
Do you have anybody you need to plug in this process as they look at the top of this?
Ad break. Okay. You be back in a second. But yeah, guys, lots of fire beer. But like honestly, I'm so deeply impressed with the Teo. Like I know he's my homie, and I've known him for so long, like 8 years in the game. He's been in like. I don't want to like gas him up too much on here, but I'm really impressed. Like I had a night where I drank he sent me 5 different beers. I drank 4 of the 5 beers. I was like just blown away with them. And I know they don't even have their space yet. So it's really cool to be able to showcase these beers and what he's doing. And we've still got a couple more to go. I know we're sort of yapping a lot because we're friends and we're just fucking around. But yeah, like genuinely, like no bullshit. I tell him, and I know he listens and understands, but I don't want to like keep telling him how good the stuff is. I'm just so impressed. Now, from what I understand, they're able to ship to basically the entire continental United States. I don't know about like the other, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, anything like that, but at least within the states they're able to ship. They have a distributor that's able to do that. So I would highly recommend if you're able to do that, you can jump on crownsofhops.com. You're able to order these beers. The Pils is spectacular, and it's just like such a nice experience drinking them, like knowing how much work they put into the labels and the branding of everything. It's just really, really, really impressive. And because I've seen the journey, and if you guys have been listening for a while, you would have heard them on the pod a bunch and heard us talk about them, and just being really proud of them, man. And it's something that I would highly encourage everybody to get. We've still got a couple more beers to get to, but they're just fantastic. I'm really enjoying drinking them, and I was like, I was telling him earlier off air, I was like, I'm not gonna get through all of them on the pod, because you're gonna get too lit if you try and drink 4 beers in 2 hours or so. But I'm kind of like pushing. I'm trying to just crushing them because I'm just enjoying them so much because they're so well done. So I definitely want to get into that more with Teo. But yes, crownsandhops.com if you want to go order. I know they ship everywhere, so if you're in the States and you want to give these a try, crownsandhops.com, shipping all across the U.S. I've just been promoting you for the last fucking 2 minutes.
I appreciate that, OG.
Hey, man. I love it. I love it a lot. It's spectacular. So which brew have you been drinking anything aside from Crowns and Hops fucking gorgeous, spectacular beer that you have enjoyed, or are you basically what you were saying was you haven't really had as much opportunity to do that?
No, I've gotten a few. I would be remiss by not calling out my friends and families at Urban Roots in Sacramento.
Cool.
One of the only other Black-owned breweries in the state, in the country.
No shit.
Their head brewer, not a black guy, but an incredible human being, Peter Hoey, probably does some of the most incredible beer in the state. There's a small brewery out of San Luis Obispo that has one of the coolest names in the game. Am I frozen again?
No, I'm listening.
Like Ursula?
No, you've seen it.
There does not exist.
There does not exist.
There does not exist.
That's cool, man.
They are doing so. Here's a funny fucking story though. I knew about them, but
Oh, wow.
I didn't know where they were. And I was taking a trip up to San Luis Obispo, which is like Central California, and someone was like, "Hey, one of my guys who I work with, John Carpenter, is actually building a distillery up there." And he's like, "Yo, you should stop by. There does not exist." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, they're here?" And he's like, "Bro, they're like right down the street." And I'm
No
like,
shit.
"Fucking there, bro." I go there, meet one of the owners and the head brewers, and forgot the name of his own brewery. Talking to him about his brewery. That's a fucking hard ass name. That's a hard ass name. I was like, "Yo,
That's
it's such an honor to be here at Does Not There Do." And he was like, "There does not exist." I'm like, "Fuck."
Like, damn it. We've been drinking, bro. Just give me a break, yeah. Yo, this shit looks killer. This is fire.
I didn't drink at all.
Oh,
and still
well
fucking
then.
the name.
No, excuse, I was trying to hook you up. This is cool,
they're
man.
Yeah, there does not exist as fucking fire. And
we got some Czech pills and shit.
bro,
Good for them. I followed. Yeah, hell yeah.
who the fuck else?
Who else you fucking with, man?
I mean, you know me, man. Highland Park is always high on the list for me. I think for a lot of people kind of have their obvious. For me, Highland Park is always kind of like a true north. If you tell me I got to load my refrigerator with one brewery in Southern California, it's probably going to be Highland Park.
Really?
Because,
I didn't know you thought that highly. That's cool.
And
They do everything
dude,
fire.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Bob Kuntz and his team and his wife Tiffany, they just do it. They just do a lot. They're generous with their time and with their
Good for them.
resources, and they brew fucking great beer.
Hell yeah.
And not just across like one style, but I think I probably learned from them what it meant to kind of not necessarily brew what you love and brew what you want, but to brew and stay true to your signature. And I think that's kind of been the Crowns and Hops experience, which ideally will be a nice segue to the next beer.
I was about to say, we're going to hit that.
Yeah, man.
Inglewood, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
West Coast time. Do you want to talk to him while I just walk those 3 steps to the fridge?
Oh, hey, Inglewood Sun, baby.
You're making me
so as
Tell
you go grab the can, I'm sure it'll look much better on your screen than it does my screen of Legos. Is Inglewood Sun is, I call, a correction for us. I talked about just that idea of really just being 100 as it relates to the beers that we make at Crowns and Knots Brewing Company. Hold it there. It hasn't. There we go.
Look at that can. I got to spin this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a return to the beers that I absolutely run to when I know they're available. So this is West Coast IPA straight down the middle of the plate. There's nothing. There's nothing. I'm not hiding anything. With adjuncts, it is 100% two-row, Carafoam, Strata, Simcoe, and Chinook hops, crystal clear, and dank as fuck. And this is the style of beer that, and as you can see, I got it in the OG glass.
Oh, that Dope and Dank classic.
Yep.
Oh yes, let me just get a couple quick shots.
But to me, this is the beer that I always reach for in my fridge. Like when I've had a couple, or even when I'm looking for my first, I'm typically reaching for a West Coast IPA and something that isn't that doesn't incorporate specialty malts, that doesn't have hops that that won't be specific. We really leaned into Simcoe. This harvest of Simcoe hops that we chose for this particular beer are just incredible. And it's a Inglewood Sun. It is a love letter to to the West Coast, in terms of the actual region and the native people of Inglewood and South LA, hence Inglewood Sun, and also to the characteristics of the West Coast IPA that I love, which are bright, hoppy, dank, resiny. All those things to me are indicative of the sun. So hence Inglewood Sun. And the last thing is that the artwork is Art Deco, which leads me to the space that we're building, is in an Art Deco protected region of Inglewood. And we wanted to start to incorporate some of those Art Deco elements into our artwork so that when we open, people kind of have an understanding of what we were going for. Us showing an appreciation for the original residents of Inglewood, largely Black and brown people that have a beautiful community, even without the induction of like new developments like the SoFi Stadium and the new Intuit Dome. Inglewood is beautiful, and this is a beer dedicated to the city and the style.
Well said, my
West
bro.
Coast. Cheers.
West Coast, get that in you, mate.
I love this beer.
Dude, this shit is spectacular, and I love hearing you talk about West Coast. And you've always been in my head when I think about West Coast. Pause, because you really have always loved them. You've been really heavy into them. Something that a few of my I have a co-host in Canada, but shouts to Nathan. He's been co-hosting a lot of episodes with me, and him and I specifically have been aggressively getting into West Coast over the last probably year or so.
Yeah, it's a trend. It's coming. It's back.
It's coming back, babe. It's coming back.
West Coast, bro.
And I was extremely excited that you were excited about this, because I'm like, oh, if you were amped, out of all the beers that you sent, this was the one that you were like, oh, this is the fucking one, And I was extra excited about it. And it's spectacular. It's also in the it's 6.8% in that money zone.
Yep.
It's, great SRM, crystal clear. This glass, I got like Airbnb glasses. I don't have my proper shit, but it's super.
It's pretty sexy though, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate your Airbnb glass. It almost looks like no, I'm gonna fuck this up. It's not
the Rodenbach. The Rodenbach glasses, like those, like the tall, thin. They're a little thinner at the top. Yes. Yeah. What are they called? What are they called? I don't know what they're called.
I don't know. But what style is that traditionally? Is it
like
Hellas?
No, like that. No. I don't think so. I don't think it's for a lager. It's like Rodenbach, like Flanders Red.
Nah, I'm talking about another glass.
Different thing. Okay, maybe I'm something else I'm not thinking of. But it's got these little. It's like I'm pretty sure it's IKEA.
I'm totally tripping. It's like a lambic glass that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Which I think is basically the same as the Rodenbach one. So I think the Rodenbach, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's like these are very small little rivets. I think they're a little larger, but it's the same thing, and they have a little. This is quite wide, and I think it lets the aromatics out a little too fast.
Yes.
Which is why I keep smelling the can to kind of like punch me in the face a bit. But no, this is fantastic, and this is. I mean, look, it's cool you talk about Art Deco because we're here in Miami, and lots of Art Deco out here. And as you were just before you were talking about, I'm like, this is such a gorgeous can, man. Just like the gold outline of the title of the beer, and it's so attractive. Yep. It's so fucking nice.
Shout out to our designer, Matt Taylor, for Matt Varnish. One of the things that we realized we needed to bring
Matt.
some continuity,
some
content to our beers, because our beer names and our artwork is so unique that we needed to bring a line of continuity.
Yeah.
We've been working really hard. It is a tough project to try not to fuck up an aesthetic that people know you from, but then also continue to evolve it. But the Sun series will be dedicated to just incredible neighborhoods in LA and South LA, in the region, that just have had an incredible amount of influence, your favorite word, on culture, on LA culture, and ultimately that speaks to why we're putting a brewery in an area that does not have one.
It's the coolest shit in the world that you're doing it there, and I definitely want to get into that. Um, Obviously, we're watching Insecure, the final series, and all the stuff about Inglewood in there and stuff, and I'm just like, I feel like that series, and I know you have a personal relationship with Issa and her brother, and it's so, I was like, yo, this is like, they are romanticizing Inglewood and really setting it up, obviously, from the cultural perspective, but then you mentioned all the other big things like SoFi with the Super Bowl last year and all this type of stuff. Like, you guys opening in Inglewood is no small, like let's be real, like it's not a small deal. This is some serious shit.
No, it's. I mean, we're walking distance from the Forum, from SoFi, from the new Clippers Intuit Dome. You know, there's a lot to be proud about as it relates to our proximity to the developing Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, to be honest, it was really important for us to also to be connected to a neighborhood. So
Right.
as much
The real
as
community
exactly,
who have
you
been here
know, and we're
forever.
talking,
Yeah.
bro. Benny and I walked like a mile radius of our brewery and introduced ourselves and talked about what our plan was, what we wanted to do, and we were really happy and excited to know that the majority of the people in the region that we are putting this brewery are homeowners. They own their property.
Sick.
So when you know you have a lot of people that feel like they're either getting displaced because of the momentum and what a brewery brings to the community, we are ultimately bringing value to homeowners who have been in their properties and who have been excited to pass their properties on to their family members and keep it in there to continue to build generational wealth. So we're excited to be a part of that. We're excited to be the catalyst for those who want to also do that for their own communities, which brings us back to A Trill. You know, the whole point of A Trill is what can we do to help someone do what we're doing in our own neighborhood. Like I cannot, and as silly as it might sound, or as like, you know, I don't know a word. I'm, you know, the beer bubbles are starting to make my vocabulary disappear. But
It happens.
in 100 years, no one's going to give a fuck about crowns and hops. No one's going to remember crowns and hops. You know, what someone is going to remember is that they had a local pub that they felt safe in, that was reflective of them and how they spoke and who they are and their family, and that someone remembered their name when they walked in the door. Our responsibility is to make sure that that continues to happen in communities that have never felt that. Like that shit is fucking cool when you walk into a craft brewery or a bar, and I know it sounds cheesy, like a Cheers line, but when everybody knows your name, when you walk in that spot, that is a dope spot for you to bring your best friend or your old mate to, or your first date to, or whatever. Like that
Hell yeah.
feeling, like this is mine too, is
Mm.
something that's missing.
It's
So you know
pride.
that's it's pride, and
Mm.
it's equity.
Yeah.
You know, that is equity. Everybody should be able to feel that feeling.
Mm.
You know, that's the psychological aspect of equity.
Dude, that's fucking fire. It's just the coolest shit. Like I'm trying to, I was saying when you went to the bathroom, I was like, I don't want to gas you up too much. I just love everything. It's just so sick. It's so fucking sick because you're like this close now to the dream being realized. And it's like, you know, when you see the homie like grinding from day one, it's been 8 fucking years, man. Like, and just seeing in beer, like it's almost weird for me to know someone in beer for 8 years. Like, like
I mean, but also when it comes down to you and me, it's the business of beer. It's
yeah.
the business and the ecosystem around beer as well, because that like I think there are a lot of people that wonder how to turn their love for something into a business.
Mm.
And you and I have both, you know, between also having our incredible partners in Benny and Tiffany, um, that we've been able to take our no big deal skills, whether it's you being an MC and a mic god, and translating that into being a mouthpiece for something in a way that people would normally, or rather would find a pathway to, oh shit, he's dropping breadcrumbs so that I can live in my truth and live in my dream. Like, to make money in your dream, oh my God, bro, I quit my job and worked minimum wage at a brewery as a cellar person. That shit I felt like a failure, dude. I felt like a failure.
Step one to where you're at now, because you were willing to give everything up.
Yep.
Particularly, and that's why it's extra inspiring, because you didn't do it at 22. You probably did it in your late 30s or early 40s or some shit.
40s, yep.
So that's even better though, because it shows that like it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you can have a successful career in other things, like you said, in entertainment and all of this stuff. And Benny was very successful in marketing, and then be able to be like, you know what, I need
9, by the way.
Say that again.
I said Benny is 29.
29. If anyone asks, that's what I'm not. I definitely was not speaking on Benny's age. I never would ever do that. Ever. Just love you, Benny. It's like, it's just so cool to see y'all do that, and to sort of like, it's almost like, it's an interesting thing, right? Because I've been talking to a bunch of my rapper friends recently who was similar age as me, and I've been rapping for 21 years, putting out music for 21 years, right? Obviously, we never got famous off rapping. Now, obviously, that's everyone's goal and whatever, and it's very difficult to take away the identity of being a rapper and your whole, I left my family and I went to another continent for rap, and it didn't pan out how I wanted it to. However, I found multiple other avenues that were working, so I can still do the music, but like, I don't have any like ulterior motive anymore. But I know that
which leads me to my next question. Is there another C album dropping?
For sure. Me and my brother are working on a group album, so we got that coming. You know what I mean? We in the building. It's not. It'll never stop, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Yep. Yo, you dropped an album that was like so fucking political and so freaking passionate about like what the fuck was going on. I was like, damn. I was listening to it the other day. I was like, God damn, bro, like you swung for the fences on that shit, dude.
Thank you, sir. The last one, Relentless, probably, yeah, I guess that was like that. But it's so difficult. But when you think about it, right? I appreciate, and it's almost like the individual, like you saying something kind about the album means more now, because before, what I wanted was this whole thing, like a career from making music. But when I started doing it, the way that things are now, it was very different. Back then, you had to get a deal. There was no other way to do it. You had to be major. You couldn't do anything independently. Then as things change, and maybe it didn't work out, because it doesn't work out for 99.99999% of people, you have to come to terms with the fact that, like, and I'm saying this in a good way, that I'm going to keep doing music, and I would rather, like, 50 people be like, hit me and be like, yo, this shit is like, I appreciate this. This is great, as opposed to 100,000 people hit you. But then the other elements, the other parts that we're doing,
that 100,000 number sounds like some loot.
It would be, well, yes, but the chances of that happening are slim to none. If you got to be realistic about stuff, I have gray beard. I'm not making music that is palatable to the radio. It wouldn't pop off on a 10-second TikTok type of shit, because it's thoughtful and long form. Just like your beers are thoughtful, just like these podcasts are thoughtful conversations, just like the high season information is real information that helps people grow. I feel like I would rather contribute something.
I'm sorry. Say that again. The high season what?
The high season content, the course that we're here in Miami filming and writing, the free stuff we put online can help you build and grow your business, and the impact we're having is real, and it's working in a way that maybe the music never worked, and it's because it's just unfortunate. It is what it is. But I guess what I'm saying is you can reconcile that within yourself and be like, I can keep fucking with the music on the, I can keep doing that with no pressure. but these other things are moving the needle. So let's lean into that. But you even took the risk and stopped something that you had going because you went to follow your passion, and then that shit is working, and you had to go from like up here to be like, I'm going to be a seller person for minimum wage when I've been making all this money and doing all this stuff for years. So that speaks to your passion, that you've been able to just follow what you really wanted to do and what worked and where you're making your impact. And like you said, how easy everything came to you,
bro.
when you were doing Crowns and Hubs.
It's a tough path to follow something that you know you're meant to do, but the world says that you're foolish for following it, or even your family or your friends say that man, bro, you have no idea how many times I pitched this Crowns and Hops concept to friends and family that were like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know. You like, you're doing pretty good in entertainment. You're doing pretty good slanging them DVD sleeves. Like, maybe you should stick to that, you know? And bro, I'll never forget just sitting at my desk and just staring at my phone, knowing damn well I needed to make calls, you know, to accounts or whatever it was. And I couldn't do it, man. I could not do it. Way to disguise your burp that no one knows
Like that?
that was burp. You ever just burp into the microphone like,
Not yet, because this is relatively new, so I try to go to the side because it's not very, you got to talk into it, so I can kind of disguise it on the side, but I try to be slick, and it wasn't slick enough because you're a man who knows a burp when he sees one.
Yes, I do know.
It's the Inglewood sun. It's just hitting me right in the soul. These glorious West Coast IPAs, 6.8% available all across California, and you can even order online at crownsandhops.com. But anyway, I digress. Continue.
Order this online. Not yet.
Not yet, but you will. But otherwise, you get on a motherfucking flight. It's cheap in the States. You get across. You get to.
Hey,
keep talking. I'm going to change the battery.
Yep. So another fun fact that a lot of people don't know that is absolutely downloadable is Mr. C allowed me an opportunity to live a dream that I never even thought would come to fruition, which is fucking crazy as hell. So
when you bust that 16,
God love all of the incredible MCs and all of the dope rappers that are on this planet. I understand that your craft is more than just a hobby, that it is your craft. But this motherfucker C allowed me to jump on a incredible track called Hazy with him and a couple other cats. It was a pretty fucking incredible.
You killed it, man.
That shit was fucking cool, dude. I was like I still geek out. I don't know if I geek out like as big as like you are, like my family or my daughters, but it's like I could like go to like a streaming service and hear a fucking verse that I fucking drop. Like, that's fucking crazy to me. Thank you for that, dude. Like, as someone who loves hip hop, as someone who loves music, like, you know, even though you look like an artist that would be playing some Krungenben music or something, that's fine.
They're good.
They're fucking incredible.
I wish.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was a cool,
pleasure.
amazing experience to be on a track with C.
You killed it, man.
When you go back to C4, I thought C4 was clever.
It was my old graffiti tag when I was like 15. I know, and that's why I was like, oh, my name's Craig, and you call it C4, like the thing, but I spell it weird, and blah blah blah. And then it just like, yeah, see, Teo Zany.
That's called my third beer. You know, that's another thing. I cannot drink all day like I used to.
Nope, you're old. You're a grandfather.
I knew it was
and I mean that with love and admiration and respect.
Thanks.
Like, absolutely, as always.
Thank you, C4. You're always so explosive with the compliments.
You know I love exploding compliments all over you, but knew we'd get off track.
Enter the interesting part of when Teo's hat goes a little
Sideways.
a little cocked to the side on.
You know the
the
vibes. You know the vibes. You know I love a bit of cock to the side pause.
Man,
I can't remember what we're talking about. No, that
right,
remix was good. The remix was lit, and I even busted your ass a bit, like to do it all like a rapper. When you're like, bro, I'm not a rapper. I don't know what you're talking about. And I think about that whenever I hear it, and I was like, you know what? It's probably good that I felt bad because I was like, oh fuck, I'm used to just like, yo, just do this, and you're like, I don't know what this means, fuck. But I think it's good because it probably showed you sort of what it's like. You know, it isn't easy to make music, and it's hard to.
Right.
It is a craft, and it's definitely a challenge to, to put together a track. But it was super cool that you brought, because once again, it speaks to what you've created. It's actually a cool little like full circle thing, because it was rappers and Shasta Mosaic, who was supposed to be on the track, but when I emailed the wrong beat, and he didn't see the second email with the right beat, so he rapped to the old beat, and it didn't fit to the new one, so we weren't able to put him on it, but I appreciate him for that. But we, I got to connect with Joe in Fort Worth, and just other dudes who are rapping and rapping about beer, and they're beer fans. And that's, to me, as a hip hop artist, I haven't met many people who are into craft beer who would even talk about it in a song. So it was cool to have the three of us over this beat produced by this German dude who's worked with massive people like Shasta Shuko.
Oh, shit. We did kind of like a foreign exchange thing, dude.
Yeah, so it was LA, Fort Worth, at the time Montreal, and Germany, which is fucking dope.
Damn. I didn't know about the Germany element.
Yeah, man, he's like he's doing. I forgot who it is. I could check him on Instagram, but he's worked with some like serious names. Like I bought. Fun fact, I bought a beat off him in like, I don't know, 2008. And
you sound like such a fucking rapper.
Oh, I don't buy beats no more. I only work with people who give me beats because it's not really that type of vibe. I can't find him. But so I bought the beat back in the day, and then I heard this German rapper rapping over the same beat that I paid for and I'd already put out. And I was like, what the fuck? And I hit him up and I was like, hey man, I just saw this. And this was years later. What's up with it? He's like, oh man, I co-produced that with this other guy, and he was double selling a bunch of beats. I'll give you another beat to say I'm sorry. And I know, because it's unfortunate that dirty people in the music industry, surprise, surprise. And he gave me that beat. He goes, here's a couple to choose from. So I chose that beat. I did Hazy, the original, and then when I was doing it, I think when I filmed the video, I wore the Dope and Dank tank for it, and I think I showed you, and then you were like, yo, we should do a remix. I'll bring in some other people, and then boom, and then it was like, then you were like, you were gonna rap on it because you were always freestyling.
I was always freestyling. I was always freestyling.
You were really good at freestyling.
It annoys Lynette so much. Shout out to my incredible, amazing woman, Lynette.
Shouts to Lynette.
Yeah, but now I got a little son, a little 9-month-old son. He loves all my freestyles.
Oh, I bet he's about that level.
I could freestyle to him all day, and he
no complaints.
It. None. I'm the best rapper on the planet to him,
and you will be forever.
But to that point, you let me live my freestyle dreams, even though writing is much different than freestyling.
It is, eh? I feel like it's all there's three main skills in rap: is songwriting, freestyling, and battling, and they're all very, very, very different. And if you don't work at all of them, you're not going to be able to do it. So, like, one of my favorite things, there's always this expectation that like rappers who write songs can just freestyle, and I've never been very good at it or confident at it, because I never worked at it. And one of my favorite shit ever was when Royce the 5'9" said he doesn't freestyle. And I was like, yes, because he's in my top 5. I'm like, if Royce... Yeah, Royce is... Top 5. Royce is one of the goats to me, bro. Yeah, man. I like...
Royce is dope. Don't get me wrong. I give Royce his props, but damn, top 5, dude.
For his... Hold on. Kanye West, Royce, Black Thought, Scarface, and Fonte. Oh, it's a wrap.
Kanye West is your top. Hold on. So bear with me.
Yes.
Kanye over 3 Stacks.
Yes. Andre would probably be top 10, top 15.
Kanye over Jay-Z.
Yes. I have to explain. It's a longer thing, and you got to put everything that's happened recently aside.
I'm joking with you on the laptop. I'm just trying to understand what the scope is.
Can I explain
because
it?
It's also important. It's also important to understand the scope
Yeah.
of what you're judging. Top
What is
five.
judging? So, okay, let me put it this way. My top 5 is my favorite rappers, right? The greatest rapper of all time, and I don't believe there's a argument for it, is Jay-Z. Nobody is better than Jay-Z ever in any shape or form as far as songwriting, for cultural impact, accolades, business, nothing. I don't even think it's a conversation. I'm not even that willing to even talk about it because I just think Jay-Z is the greatest.
I used to argue it, but now I can't. I used to argue,
That he's
ironically, LL. I used to argue Cube, but now in 2023, I can't. My argument doesn't stand up.
I just think that he has to be, right? And I'm
So
seeing
how
people.
is he over Kanye?
So this
Favorite.
I think it's just too obvious to put him over my and it's like, to me, it's like it's too easy to put Jay-Z at number 1. So Kanye's the number 1 because Kanye's the reason. I know, I got a wall of Yeezys behind me, and Ye is he changed everything for me. He's the reason we make the music we make since 2002. Before College Dropout came out, we were listening to him in the studio. We were nobody rapped conversational.
As a producer, we're talking about
As a rapper. Dude, I'm talking the leaks from College Dropout, and what you mentioned, LL, Love You Better. He did that. Was it because of the rock that I got? He's doing all those fucking the freestyles. I don't know if you remember them.
I don't know, man.
No. Nobody rapped like that. Nobody rapped like that back then. But I think you had to be there to appreciate it, and it's
but at some point, you do a disservice to yourself by your actions, because
I have to look past that.
Hold on.
I'll hear you out.
Do you look past R. Kelly?
Fair point. But I don't know how much I want to get into that on the Beer podcast, but
no, I get it. But if we're just talking about principles of does what you do impact your ability for those to digest and negotiate your craft? And I feel that he has gotten to a point to where he has compromised his craft, which is heartbreaking, because R. Kelly compromised his craft.
Yes,
and it's funny. We were talking. I was talking to someone. It was me, my girl, and her friend, and we were talking about Usher, and we were like, "Wait a minute, who could during the time that Usher was killing it? Who was there?" And then I was like, oh, "Shit, it was Kelly." And then when we looked it up, it was that's what it was. And but the fact is you almost psychologically can't even register the greatness because of the compromise. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I will listen to a Dropout. I went I still have the little book that was what's the album after College Dropout?
Late Registration.
No, what's the one with the bear
Graduation.
Graduation. When I went to that concert, bro, it was remarkable. Yeah. Rihanna opened, and she was kind of in an awakening standpoint.
Yeah, she was the first album.
Wait, what?
That was her first album, if I'm not mistaken, around then.
That was her third album.
Well, she opened for Jay-Z in Australia in
By the way, we
2008.
Craft beer, people. Just
Craft
to
beer.
Remind you.
Well, we can talk about rap music a little bit too. Why the fuck?
Speaking of that, let's at least crack open Mama's Punch.
I was definitely getting to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because in a minute, Mama gonna be yelling from the. As you can see right now, it is not sunny California anymore. It is
to be
nice and cool. Yeah.
Okay. Keep talking about Mama's Punch, and then we'll.
Yes. So Mama's Punch. This is our seasonal tart ale series. It started off as a Goes series with Mama's Keys, which is a key lime pie inspired Goes. But we started to realize that we really wanted to show the scope of how C and canines can coexist, but also how some people don't even understand that there are certain types of beer like tart ales, like sours, like um, you name it, naturally fermented wild beers. And our way to introduce an entire demographic that may be completely oblivious to it was in doing a tart ale series. So we do a seasonal tart ale series. The first in that series is Mama's Punch,
Let's
which is a
go.
fruit punch style tart ale. We brew it with pineapple, guava, cherries, and oranges. Um, we're really careful with the perceived sweetness on this beer. We wanted to make sure that we allowed for the ale to shine, the base of the beer to shine, while having the essence of this fruit. So again, you're gonna and another thing. See, we did choose to leave a little bit of sea salt in this beer.
I
It's a
got
Sonoma
that.
sea salt.
Yes. What's
So it is still in this beer. But we believe that almost seasons the wort. It almost seasons the beer to allow for all these really interesting notes to come out, which is the tartness that is caused from the yeast that we use. We use a Berkeley's low acidity producing yeast, and then we have our fruit, that brings its own style to the party. And to the point of style to the party, we always dedicate our tart ales to the matriarchs in our family. Not often do you get to see stories about
very
incredible
cool.
Black women in this country. When you talk about the most forgotten, the least celebrated, that would be the American Black women. And we love to take an opportunity with this series of beers, Mama's Punch, Mama's Keys, and Mama's Peaches, to talk and celebrate the Black women in my and Benny Ashburn's family. This beer is dedicated to the Robinsons and the Bash family of Miss Benny Ashburn, my partner in crime of Crowns and Hops Brewing Company.
Hella cool, man. Let's get that. Let's raise one. Cheers.
Cheers.
Get that in your mate.
Look at that. That's pretty.
Mm.
Woo.
Oof. The goza aspect of this is spectacular. So so essentially, would you call it a goza?
We did, but it does not have coriander in it.
Gotcha. So,
Technically, to be a goes, it needs to have coriander, salt, um, and a certain amount of lactic acid or acidity.
mhm.
Um, we're like, fuck a box. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we want to create something that we enjoy drinking a full pint of, because you can't stay in business very long if you're only selling 10 ounces of liquid.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair
So,
point.
this beer, in our opinion, just really
Brilliant.
showcases the scope of craft beer. And again, our mission at Crowns and Hops is to preserve culture, to expand palates, and to build community. And I think this beer really showcases our dedication to all of those things.
I love it, man. I feel
Mouthfeel
like
on this is great.
yeah, the mouthfeel is awesome. I feel like you can taste all of the fruits, which is
Yeah.
super unique for the beer. Like sometimes when there's like a series of fruits, you can kind of become you can't really pick them out. But I feel like with this, you could really like that was one of the first things I noticed. I was like, oh, I can taste like I'm reading through the list. I'm like, oh fuck, I can taste all of these things, which
Yeah.
is super sick, man. Like very very impressed. And I remember posting it, and someone commented they were where they, I think it was an Australian, if I'm not mistaken. They were like, "Oh, I got this in a bar in LA, and I wish I had got some 4-packs to take it home." I was like, "Fuck, all right, bro."
Yeah. So a little fun nugget. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this podcast drops. So
this week or next week?
Okay, well, probably not. But if it is, something for the people to look forward to.
Right now,
we're doing a series of highlighting some incredible Black and brown mixologists to do a cocktail with Mama's Punch. It's something that we're going to be doing a series of. So every time we drop one of these Tart Ls, we're going to give the beer to some incredible Latin, Black, Asian, Indian, you name it, just some incredible mixologists to do something special.
Yeah, man.
You know, we think that a lot of people are like, you know, a little pessimistic about the beer industry losing out to RTDs, to seltzers, but like, I mean, craft beer is about experimentation and about having fun with the liquid, and we think that we'll be able to inspire a lot of people to do some fun stuff with the liquid that's in the world, you know, with creating a nice little craft beer cocktail.
Dude, that's awesome. That is so fun. This is a perfect base for it because it's so flavorful, but it's still so like this. It's a canvas too. I can see exactly what you're talking about. There's a lot that folks can do. The things that we did, I know, because we kept fucking around digressing, which is obviously much more fun than that. But just a couple things I want to make sure that we captured here.
Let's go. Make sure.
Okay.
Check the boxes.
Check the boxes, because I just want to get this, because, you know, it's been a few years. We're not going to do this few years shit anymore because that's kind of crazy. I feel like we should do this more often, and I feel like we should try to figure something out where we can do some sort of regular thing, even if it's just me and you shooting the shit. I'll send you some beers, you send me some beers, and we try and we just drink and talk. Like, you're the best. Like, I love you, man. Like, we've been mates for such a long time, and I'm like, you're the best personality ever, and I just want to, like, I feel like... just want to like hang out. I just want an excuse to like.
Your personality needs a little work. I mean, like, you know, just throw it in the Instapot. Throw it in the Instapot for a little while. Let it.
It's an Instapot.
Listen.
Hey, let that shit just marinate, bro. Let it marinate. You know what I'm saying? Put some spices. Put some of that. What's that shit that starts with Z that you get in New Orleans?
With the hurricane.
Not the hurricane. It's a spice, motherfucker. Not a hurricane. That
spice.
shit.
I'm sorry.
Did I tell you, bro? We survived. Okay.
Sometimes throws me off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Forget that, bro. Last week on Wednesday, we survived a once in a 1,000-year storm in Fort Lauderdale. We're taking Tiff's cousin to the airport. We drive to the fucking airport. The traffic's crazy, and like, I was like, okay, whatever. It's like double the time to get there. Start driving through the back streets of Hollywood and Dania Beach. There's like a foot plus of water. Everything's like starting to flood. We're like, this is kind of wild. We have an SUV, thank fuck. So we're driving. We get to the airport. We get to the departure thing. We were stuck in the departure lane for 6 hours. We get to the end of the departure lane. So we had to like park the car. It was basically not really moving. The whole departure thing is maybe like, I don't know what it is in miles, but I don't know, 500 meters, like not much. We had to like, Tiff found a Starbucks that was open to get us some food. We're able to run in and use the bathroom or whatever. We get to the end. There's at least like 2 feet of water. There's all these cars everywhere that were either floating or like just stuck. And there was no cops, like nothing. And we got through it. And we found out later, Fort Lauderdale had 40% of their annual rainfall in 8 hours. So nearly half the year's rainfall in 8
40%.
hours. The airport was flooded. Planes were damn near floating. It was fucking crazy, and we didn't die. And I still, like, this has been a trip. Fucking America, bro. Like, I love it. I'm not, shouts to our car.
Let me show you a little bit of America.
Show me America, bro. I'm out here. Let's go.
So we are in Leimert Park, California. It's funny. All of my friends, when they come, they say they feel like they're in the scene in like Boys in the Hood. When Ricky was running down the
alleyway. Yeah, West Side recently.
Yeah.
I cried. I didn't care. I cried. Don't reenact that. I'll cry even harder. I've had too many beers, bro.
Yeah. So into an alley outside of, but Lamar Park is beautiful.
That's great. The color of the building is fantastic.
That's the building I live in. It's freaking cool.
Oh, it's freezing a bit. But we're getting that LA goodness right here, guys. It's going to kick back. It's going to kick back. Oh, Teo, it's freezing, but it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that California.
So that's what happens when you have a couple of brews. You think you can just do things and that you're not tethered to some internet device.
It's fire, though. Look at this. Look at this America. Look at that. Look at that beautiful sky. California sky. Honestly,
no 2 feet
of rain. Do you salute the flag every time you go past one? Because I do.
What flag?
The American flag. I go, America.
What flag?
Say if I'm driving and there's one on the left-hand side, I use my left hand and I'm like, America. And I salute it. I love it here, though. I'm not even making
American
fun.
now.
I kind of, honestly, it's about to be a problem. Like, now I'm back in like travel mode and shit. I fucking love it here. It is phenomenal. I love it. It's the best. And we've got an imaginary line. I don't even know why there's a border. They're nicer to me now because I'm Canadian. Unless I'm like fucking foreigner and shit.
I gotta put on my Easy E jacket.
All right, put that on there. That flak jacket. Be careful. Careful.
It's not no damn flak jacket. It's a coach's jacket.
Oh, I like that.
Snap it at the top.
Oh, at the top. Okay. I like that. I respect.
Oh man, brother, when you coming back out to California, man?
So you saw the little canine I was holding. So right now we have to figure out how to get him on a plane. There's a bunch of challenges. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Switch the hat, switch the jacket. Let's fucking go. But yeah, we want to come out to Cali, bro. We've been talking about it. So like, I'm excited. I want to get the fuck out there. This year we're like back in like major travel mode. So I'm gonna keep you posted. I want to get the fuck out, man. I just want to see everything again. Like, it's been so long, and it's been cool to have a break and like work on the business and do the thing. So I'm grateful for you. And I were talking off air about how COVID was obviously a horrible thing, but it had some positive side effects, and for our business it did, and it made us. We bought a house, we got the pup, we got a car, all this shit we could never really do before. So everything's going.
You called? I thought you called them like flats or something in Canada.
A flat of what? Oh, no,
house.
that's the UK. So that's an apartment or a condo. Hey, that's racist. No. That's those British fucks. I am not them. That shit.
Yo,
we got houses.
When I tell you, man,
we're gonna get you to Canada.
I know. I definitely owe you all a visit.
I have a room for you, bro. I have a room, everything for you, like a bed. Like,
I need more than a room. I'm a grandfather with like kids and shit.
We're not gonna bring them motherfuckers. I got a beer cellar. You don't need that shit. Come through. We're gonna crush beers. We're gonna go to Badlands. We're gonna go to Third Moon. We're gonna see all the homies in the area. Like, make sure you meet everybody. We'll take you to Godspeed. We'll take you to Fairweather and all the homies in Hamilton, where we at, and take you to Toronto. I feel like it could be. We could.
You were checking boxes though.
Checking boxes.
You were checking boxes to make sure that we got everything that you wanted to identify on this podcast.
Oh yeah. Thank you. See,
on the cusp of being a little bit too
lit.
Like, now we're just entertainment to look at now.
Yeah, we're just crazy. We're just having a good time. Okay, thank you. This is why I love you, because this is why we have to do more content, because you keep me in line. So, that thing was, I wanted to say whatever I said before, which I've actually forgotten what it was, because I must be that lit by now. I think I achieved that, and I think whatever that was, we got there. The other thing, I just think I wanted to make sure that we didn't, and this is a bit more like straight down the line. So can you just give us the timeline of from when we spoke last, say in 2020, and you had like the BPLB, and then now you've got all of these beers. What was that? Where did you brew from back then? What changed? Where did you brew from after that? Like, how many different places have you brewed out of? And then obviously the ultimate question is, and obviously the probably question you get all the time is,
When are we?
When are you opening?
Yep. So we started brewing our first batch of BPLB at Eagle Rock Brewing Company in February of 2020,
Okay.
which I'm sure is a time frame that everybody is familiar with because that's when everything
Changed forever.
So since then, we have found 2 additional brewing facilities, one in Inglewood, one in Sonoma County up north.
Ooh, I love
And that's
Sonoma.
really
Gang,
Sonoma
gang.
County. Bro, when I tell you, when you're ready to come back up, like,
I'm a okay.
so we just started to develop 2 very specific um, arteries of beer from lagers and West Coast to Adjunct and hazy, and that's been what we've been doing for the past 2 years.
Okay.
So we have 2 production facilities that we have been using for the past 2.5 years. We have distribution throughout California. We do quarterly drops or biannual drops in Portland, in Atlanta, in New York, which is the next up. New York will get Inglewood Sun, Mama's Punch, the Dopest, and they already have BPLB and Trills.
Let's go.
Really, the point of that, which to a lot of people might seem backwards, because contract brewing is not a model for success. For anybody looking to get into this industry, contract brewing, gypsy brewing is a fantastic way to get yourself out there, but it is not a recipe for I'm going to kill it in the brewing industry doing this.
Yeah.
No. So to that point, we are, I would say, maybe about a month away from being able to get a full approval to move forward with our project. Hopefully by the time this airs, we will have gotten that approval. And, the thought is that we are going to open in a phased approach. So tap room, restaurant, production brewery. And that'll be pretty incredible. Just to be able to pour someone a pint over the counter is going to be a true dream come to fruition, is to do that, like to do this once and just to pass that over. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm going to charge that motherfucker. I will tell you, because he has to be the first, or she has to be the first patron of Crown's Inglewood.
Hell yeah, they have to. I can't wait to pay and give you fucking money for this shit, bro. Like,
look,
are we talking this year? And I'm sorry to.
we're talking this year for tap room only.
Okay.
So, and again, let me be clear. That tap room only will be a phased approach. I would say the larger opening, if you will happen when we open the patio, when we open the larger space and have the food. That's going to be the real celebratory get your ass out to Cali moment.
Oh man. Okay.
But you can definitely come whenever, bro.
We've been like, we might have to leave the dog with Grandma since Grandma loves him. So maybe that's the way to go and just fly the fuck out.
Tiff's mama, right?
Yeah, she Jamaican born, probably the most wonderful soul I've ever met in my entire life. She is. Wow. She would love you. You guys would get along so well. But she.
Aren't you from Melbourne?
Me?
Yeah.
Can I tell you a fun fact about Melbourne? This week it overtook Sydney as the biggest city in Australia. So I am now from the biggest city in Australia. Gang, let's fucking go. Fuck you, Sydney. Fucking. Nah, shouts to Sydney.
Easy.
Sorry. Shouts to Sydney. I'm just saying, we've been like second for forever.
No. I just heard a certain vernacular about to work its way in.
You know what I was about to say.
I love you, and I care about the ways that you make money. So,
gotta protect me from myself.
Pump your brakes, as we say.
This is why I love you. You're the best.
Don't slam on them.
Don't slam them. Just pump them just a little bit. Just a little tappity tap. It's 2023. These new cars are pretty receptive. You know what I'm saying? Just like boom.
Tap.
Or you got a Tesla. You just ease off. Little tappity tap.
And that motherfucker in a Tesla just rolling around like throwing nutties on people out here in LA. It was crazy.
Throwing what?
nutties. Like he was just like steroided out, and he would just come out his Tesla and just start banging on people's freaking car with like a freaking like a tire iron. It was like
Why would
weird.
you? Oh, that sounds familiar. Have you ever driven a Tesla?
I've never driven one. I've ridden one.
We rented one for my last music video,
Because you're
and
bougie.
well, it wasn't that much money. I guess you could call me bougie. I wanted to look bougie because I just wanted to drive a Tesla. It's
Got my
fun.
Tessie in a Tessie. Is that what you was going for?
Like that. Yes, that's what I was going for. Exactly.
That's what I would have said if I saw you roll by. That's my Bessie in a Tessie.
What is that from? Like City Girls or something?
Yeah, of course.
Shouts to
No,
Florida. 305.
No, that's Doja Cat and
Okay. Oh, that makes more. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Best Friend song. They've got this thing where you, instead of like, you don't use the brake. You put the car. You know how like in automatic, the car, if you got like, you let go of the brake and the car just rolls, and then you go. So it doesn't do that. You don't touch the brake. If you want to go, you push the accelerator down. You want to slow down, you let the accelerator off. There's a name for it. Someone will mention it in the comments, I'm sure. But it's like the weirdest shit. But after like 5 minutes,
accelerator numerator, bro.
that's exactly what it is, dude. Yeah, dude. Like, it's pretty crazy. It's really weird. It's very fun. There's no button, so like everything is complicated, but it's fun. I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about something serious real quick.
Yeah. I love series.
And this is something that I've been dealing with for probably the past, I want to say the past 8 years of my life.
Okay.
I don't understand how in any universe to where you could travel light speed that you still have switches. How the fuck in Star Wars do they have switches and buttons still and they can travel light speed?
That's a good point. That makes no sense.
You know what I mean?
It's a touch
fucking
screen.
touchscreen?
How didn't they think of touchscreens in like 1978?
Like the fact that you got to do this
It's
and that
ridiculous.
a fucking armor something that can go into light speed that has switches.
It's offensive, really, isn't it? George Lucas canceled. He's done. It's over for him. He didn't think about this shit. He ain't Elon.
Yeah.
Where you at, Mars?
Yeah, it's fucking tough, dude.
It's fucking crazy.
I struggle with it often.
I respect it and I understand it and I empathize with it and I'd like to.
Flips, not even dials, fucking switches.
I mean, maybe they're trying to keep the aesthetic of the late 70s airplane vibes, you know?
Fucking horseshit.
It's ridiculous and I'm not standing for it. I'm not going to stand for it anymore. I feel like science fiction needs to be science fiction.
Right now.
It's
Right
over.
now.
What do we call it? Oh, Crowns and Hops, no switches.
No switches.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, like pour on it with like just
touchscreen. But you don't want to call the beer code touchscreen. It's weird. I feel like no switches is probably more on brand.
No switches is pretty dope.
I feel like that could be kind of cool. Maybe that could be our collab. What could we do? Maybe we
Well,
could
we'd
do...
have to do a video in like a 6.4 Impala with switches.
Yeah, hence the irony, which is obviously the coolest car of all time. There is no really discussion about that, just like no discussion of Jay-Z being a GOAT, malheureusement. It just is what it is. You know, I didn't get your top 5, by the way.
My top 5 MCs?
Yes.
Ooh, man, that's tough.
Mm-hmm. By the way, the top 5 that I gave you was my favorite rappers. Not necessarily. I know that Royce doesn't make the best songs, but I think he's one of the best rappers of all time. I don't think many people touch Royce.
I get that. Top 5 MCs.
Yeah.
For me. And you know, it's crazy because I love Cube, but I struggle with after the put your back into a cube. You know, I'm like ready to die. Or, I'm sorry, a
Kill
death
It
certificate.
Will. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as MCs, Kendrick.
Really? Top 5?
Top 5.
Okay.
Top 5.
I mean,
Yeah,
High Power is one of the greatest songs of all time. So I guess.
Is it what?
High Power is one of the greatest songs of all time.
I just mean just scope, because now we have to consider body of work, which now body of work literally makes people not be in the top 5 like you.
I think that's completely fair.
Um,
I just didn't expect that. That's all.
and this is gonna sound it's fucking hard.
It's really tough, but it's almost like what's speaking to your soul. And I feel like the top 5 is what's the word? Not like it can change. It's what's your top 5 in 2023?
Top 5, not in any order.
Not in any order. No, in any order.
Yeah. So there's Kendrick. There is 3 Stacks, Andre 3000. There is Jay. Who am I forgetting? I feel like there's someone who's on the list that I'm gonna get like freaking like blasted over if I don't mention. Yeah.
Wayne.
Ooh.
I feel like Wayne's in my top 10.
Wayne, if you really think about MCs that change the trajectory of hip hop, Wayne was Carter 3.
No, Carter 2. Carter 2. Everyone talks about Carter. Mixtape Wheezy, bro. Mixtape Wayne. And Carter. That was Carter 1 through Carter 2, and then like Drought 3.
The Gangster Grills mixtapes.
Even before that, like Drought. Did you hear Drought 3? The 2 CD shit. Live from the 500 and Force, Mr. Crazy Flow jumping like a bungee in a rope, even with the dungeon I glow. You know.
So here's the significance of Carter 3. The significance of Carter 3 is very similar to the significance.
Tiff is laughing at us. She walked in and she heard the she's like, which podcast are you doing right now? Is it this BOS? I'm like, no, we're talking about Lil Wayne.
Maybe Tiff. That's why we're great.
That's why we're great, Teo saying. Okay. Continue.
Tiff is like, not really, but proceed.
Please, sir.
Yes. If you think about the Carter 3 and you think about beer, there you go, Tiff. And then you think about Jesus Christ, the Speaker Box Love Below. They both released when iTunes was releasing for the first time. So the impact of their accessibility and what they were both doing, with Wayne doing trap, gangster, down south. The South already had hip hop by the whatever you want to say it in this day and age. I'm not going to get canceled.
Yeah. I respect that.
But what Outkast and Wayne did with those 2 albums, and also Graduation, I think, was dropping around that time.
I think Graduation. Hang on, wait. No, it might have been 07 because 08 was 808s and Heartbreak. So Graduation, if it was like 04, February 10th, 2004 was that. I think 05 or 06 was late registration. That means so within those years there was That's a fair. It was an impactful time in music.
Yep. But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to take on my duties as a father, as a businessman.
I respect it.
And I'm gonna have to bid you an adieu.
Let's wrap this up. Let's take the screenshot first and foremost.
Wrap it up, B.
So let's. Can you want to hold up some produce, some Crowns and Hubs gems, for the camera so that the man that. Whoa, shit! Wow, I dropped the 8 trills, but it's okay. I apologize, 8 trill. It was empty.
You know what's funny? It was funny as you can always tell where we're at in a podcast interview with alcohol.
Yep.
When shit starts falling.
Yep. And you're like, oh, they're up to that again. I'm like, guys, it happens every podcast. It's a beer podcast. You get lit unintentionally. It's not like the point of it, but you get lit. Actually, let me show how. Okay, you got them too. Okay, ready? Oh, you are a beast. Teo, where can everyone find you online? You gorgeous man.
They can check us out at crownsandhops.com. That's CROWNSANDHOPS. That is on all platforms. If you want our beer, you can go to our website, We have a beer locator, and we also have the ability for you to get beer delivered right to your home through some incredible partners. If you are looking for distribution in California, you can find us through Breakthrough up north and Stone Distribution in Southern California. Or you could just reach out to the motherfucker C and Tiff from Beer and Other Shit.
Let's go. I'll put you in the right direction. Don't you worry about that. And it's at Crowns and Hops everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. You be pinning heavy. Check that shit. No, but make sure you check them out. Follow Crowns and Hops, man. I just love you, bro. I love you guys. I love you both. I love Benny. I just love what you're doing. I'm so fucking proud of you, man. It's beautiful. And just keep fucking winning. I cannot wait to go to that bar and to hand you my credit card and to be like, sir, open a tab.
Hey, see, we talked about what it would be like to have a life in this industry, and we're both doing it. So I would say that I am as equally proud of you and Tiff. You are my brother, and she is my sister, and I'm excited to see what we look like in the next 5 years.
Man, look, this has been 8.
Probably not any younger.
Probably not any younger. I would say more attractive. Are you kidding me? Did you see our silver? What's his silver fox? We look at us, bro. My shit. I'm younger than you. I got a lot of this shit, bro.
Fucking padded silver fox, you.
Woo,
your sleeves of sexiness.
Stop it! You're embarrassing me. Stop, bro. Dude, you're a fucking legend.
Odd couple,
aren't we? Let's hang on to the line. I'm gonna wrap this up and then we can finish off offline. But guys, please make sure you follow Crowns and Hops. Teo, you're a fucking sick C word. You already know what I'm saying. Guys, make sure you check him out if you're in the States. He has no idea. Yeah, exactly. You're a sick crown. That's what you are. That's what I'm saying. That's what we call it. That's the C word. Oh, people don't know about that. It's okay. Make sure you go check them out. But, bro, thank you again. And everybody, thank you for watching and listening. And if you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new shit drops. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast. And check out the long-form audio so you can hear attractive foxes who are silver, like Uncle Teo, talk about craft beer in America. We're here. We out here. America. We'll see you in the next episode, y'all. Peace, 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 peace.